He was madly in love with a woman. But that very girlfriend scammed him out of all his money. The entire inheritance his parents had left him. It left him destitute and alone, with no home to call his own. He never imagined that soon after, a global plague would erupt, turning most of humanity into zombies and plunging the world into chaos. In the midst of such turmoil, the survivors had to band together to fight off the flesh-eating undead. Our protagonist, Jiang Xiaoyong, managed to find a group of friends. Together, they built a safe haven to survive. But who would have thought? That bitch, Cui Jing, his ex-girlfriend, would show up at his door looking pitiful. She pretended to be a victim seeking refuge. And slowly, she preyed on Jiang Xiaoyong's kindness. She won his sympathy. That woman, once again, resorted to her despicable tricks. She paved the way for her new lover and his men to invade and destroy the base. They slaughtered Jiang Xiaoyong's comrades and ruthlessly tortured him to death. But even the heaviest downpour must end. By some miracle, Jiang Xiaoyong was reborn, sent back 1 month in time. He returned to the period before all the tragedies unfolded. He vowed to no longer be a fool, to take revenge on every single one of them, and to prepare for the Hello, everyone. Welcome to Infinity Manhwa. This series is complete. If you enjoy it, let the admin know, and we'll do the full series. The series is Rebirth in the End Times. I reached the top by opening boxes. If you like what you see, please give us a like and subscribe to the channel. We hope you enjoy the show. The story opens with our protagonist, his hands bound tightly. He's dangling high in the air. Below him is a large iron cage filled with zombies, pacing back and forth, just waiting for Jiang Xiaoyong to fall so they can tear him to shreds. Before him stands that treacherous bitch who toyed with his heart, alongside her fat new lover. Behind them are his henchmen, every one of them big and vicious. Just then, Cui Jing looks up from below. She calls out his name, Jiang Xiaoyong. Then, she cruelly speaks of his companions in a sneering tone. All your friends are dead. There's probably no point in you living anymore, is there? After taking over Jiang Xiaoyong's base, his comrades were beaten until they couldn't fight back, then thrown to the zombies. One of them had his entire face torn off. The zombies ripped a huge chunk out his neck. The girl next to him had her head smashed in, dying on the spot. Tears still glistened on her cheeks, not yet dry. They all died with their eyes wide open. Jiang Xiaoyong remembers his 2 closest comrades, his heart racked with guilt. He grinds his teeth. His heart is filled with rage and torment. Their deaths were all because he was foolish enough to trust Cui Jing one more time. Damn it, it's all my fault. I got you all killed, suspended in midair. All Jiang Xiaoyong can do is struggle with all his might. His eyes bulge as he glares at his ex-girlfriend. He tries to scream, to fight back against them. You cruel bastards. I'll make sure you never rest in peace. But the wicked often live carefree lives, despite their past together, despite the fact they were once engaged. This bitch acts as if nothing is wrong. Worse, she clings to the arm of her fat lover, pressing her chest against his arm as she whines coquettishly. Honey, look. He's being so mean to me. Her lover looks at her fondly, a smug grin on his face. We'll take our time torturing him to death. Just for you, sweetie. They'd already looted all the equipment and supplies from Jiang Xiaoyong's base. The man sneers, looking down on him as he continues. But I do have to thank you for all your stuff. It'll let us live comfortably for a few more months. With that, he raises his hand and presses the button on the control panel for the suspension system. He shouts with glee, "Here we go." In an instant, the rope holding Jiang Xiaoyong is cut. He plummets from above, his back slamming hard against the ground. The impact echoes with a sickening crack. The fall severely injures our protagonist's spine. The zombies, who had been eyeing their prey, immediately swarm him. Fresh meat delivered right to their pen. They shove and claw their way towards Jiang Xiaoyong. Every single one of them, men and women, lunge forward, their torn mouths gaping wide. With pale, ashen faces and blank white eyes, they rush him in a truly disgusting horde. A gut-wrenching fall from above. Jiang Xiaoyong could only lie there, paralyzed. The zombies swarmed him. They scrambled over each other, biting at his neck, his shoulder, his stomach. With his hands bound tight, Jiang Xiaoyong writhed in agony. He was so enraged he coughed up blood. He screamed in pain. NGH. Error. in the throes of excruciating physical torment. As every part of his body was torn apart, he was utterly helpless. Only his consciousness remained. Only Jiang Xiaoyong's mind could still think. He was filled with absolute hatred. In his last moments, suspended between a sliver of life and the finality of death, he gritted his teeth and swore an oath. Cui Jing, Li Shuxiong, if I get a chance to be reborn, I swear I'll make you both pay. The world faded to black. Jiang Xiaoyong was dead, leaving only an endless, dark void. No, Jiang Xiaoyong wasn't dead. He still had one more chance. It was like waking from a nightmare. He jolted awake, gasping for air. His face was drenched in sweat. Before he could even get his bearings, a loud, shrill voice rang in his ears. Jiang Xiaoyong, what is the meaning of this? Perhaps his thirst for revenge had moved the heavens. He had been given a new chance. Jiang Xiaoyong was sitting on the sofa in his apartment, across from the long, slender legs of his girlfriend, Cui Jing. She paced furiously in front of him, screaming, "Why isn't my name on the deed to the house? Do you even love me? Just moments ago, I was being torn apart by zombies. And now I'm sitting at home?" Jiang Xiaoyong was utterly bewildered. What was going on? He sat in his own home, yet felt like a stranger. He looked around again and again, still unable to believe he was alive. He thought to himself, could it be? Have I really been reborn? And is this before the apocalypse? Meanwhile, his girlfriend, Cui Jing, stood there, hands on her hips, continuing her aggressive tirade. Everything that had just happened to Jiang Xiaoyong felt like a dream that showed him the future, who would betray him, and who was truly on his side. Thinking about it filled him with a burning rage. He stared at his own unmarred hands, vowing to himself that he would not make the same mistakes again. Once he managed to steady his thoughts, he knew he couldn't let Cui Jing know the truth. Not that he'd been reborn, or that he knew all about her deception. Jiang Xiaoyong's face remained impassive. He struggled to suppress his emotions as she continued to scream. Right in his face. And another thing, the 100 million for the dowry. Not a single penny less. His girlfriend, Cui Jing, might have been beautiful, but her personality was pure trash. All take, no give. In his past life, Jiang Xiaoyong must have been a complete pushover. She stood before him now, arms crossed, looking down her nose at him and barking orders like he was her child. Am I clear? Seeing this, Jiang Xiaoyong thought to himself, this vicious woman, sitting before the very person who betrayed him, knowing full well her schemes, Jiang Xiaoyong could do nothing. He forced himself to stay calm. Easy. I can't lose my cool right now. Meanwhile, Cui Jing was still yelling. I'll give you some time. But if you don't have the money by then, hearing how ridiculous she sounded, Jiang Xiaoyong couldn't take it anymore. He cut her off, making an excuse to get her out the door. He forcefully pushed her outside, saying, Okay. I get it. Just go now. It was the first time Jiang Xiaoyong had ever treated her this way, and a question mark formed in her mind. She turned back, stunned, her face contorted with rage. She couldn't process his bizarre behavior. What's gotten into him? Since when did Jiang Xiaoyong grow a spine? Isn't he supposed to be my little lapdog? Back inside the apartment, Jiang Xiaoyong decisively locked the door. His hand lingered on the handle. His expression was one of clear disgust for Cui Jing. Finally got rid of that leech. After a moment of silence, Jiang Xiaoyong turned to look at the digital clock. The display read 1700 hours, July 5th, 2034. And then he let it all sink in. Just 1 month left. I have to be ready. I have to survive the coming disaster. Suddenly, a strange sound echoes near Jiang Xiaoyong. A sharp ding makes him whip his head around. A system panel has appeared right in front of him. It reads, Mission System. Apocalypse System activated. System mission issued. Please complete it as soon as possible. Mission name. Prepare for the apocalypse. Mission requirements. Acquire a plot of land. Size. No less than 1 acre. Stockpile supplies. Duration. Over 1 year's worth. Total. No less than 365 days. Mission reward. 10 points. Points could be exchanged for items. In the system shopping center, Jiang Xiaoyong had been reborn to a time just before the calamity struck. And along with his second chance, he was gifted an apocalypse system to help him face the coming zombie horde. Jiang Xiaoyong stared at the system panel with intrigue. The system, huh? I didn't expect this. Mission. Points? What can I even do with these points? He instinctively reached out and tapped on the system store icon. Instantly, the panel's information changed. System store. Physical enhancement potion. +1, 20 points. Survivor supply box, LV1, 2 points. Protagonist supply box, LV1, 10 points. Below was a button to manually refresh the store. 2 points. As he was engrossed in the system panel, Jiang Xiaoyong suddenly remembered something. Something that seemed pretty damn important. The look on his face turned dead serious. He spun around, rushing to find his phone. As he searched, he thought to himself, I almost forgot. In my past life, I was rushing to scrape together enough dowry money to marry Cui Jing. I barely spent a dime on myself. I was so malnourished my body just gave out. Finding his smartphone on the table, he quickly grabbed it. His first step wasn't to scroll through social media, but to log straight into a food delivery app. Holding the phone, he muttered to himself, in just one more month, the world will be overrun with zombies. I need to eat as much as I can while I still have the chance. A little while later, night had fallen. The city lights were twinkling. A delivery driver arrived at Jiang Xiaoyong's high-rise apartment. So many tempting dishes, all of them famous delicacies. They now covered his entire dining table. Looking at the feast, Jiang Xiaoyong exclaimed with delight. This is the legendary 3-star dish from the most famous restaurant in the city. It's always fully booked. He knew what was coming. He knew just how much suffering the disaster would bring. He might not even survive it. So he didn't hesitate to spend a fortune on the most expensive food to finally satisfy himself. Picking up a piece with his chopsticks, Xiaoyong stared at the meat and said, let's see what a $30 plate of scrambled eggs and tomatoes really tastes like. He put a piece in his mouth. His lips puckered, savoring the flavor. At first, he was hesitant, but a second later, an explosion of taste. It was so good that Jiang Xiaoyong's body erupted with power, tearing his hoodie to shreds. He roared with the pure, unadulterated satisfaction he'd been denied after so many years of hardship. Jiang Xiaoyong immediately slammed back into his chair. His mouth was wide open. He began shoveling it all in, one mouthful after another. His hands were a blur, grabbing food. He ate like a tiger that had been starved for days. In the middle of his feast, the phone next to him suddenly rang loudly. Jiang Xiaoyong was still holding a half-eaten crab leg. He glanced at the phone. Someone's calling? He picked it up and saw the caller's name. He thought to himself, is it that two-faced girl calling to cry wolf again? Though he didn't want to, Jiang Xiaoyong answered the call. The moment he accepted, a woman's voice screamed from the other end. Jiang Xiaoyong, what the hell is your problem? Is this how you treat Cui Jing? She was just trying to see how you feel. You're not even willing to give Cui Jing your assets? What kind of love is that? The girl on the other end of the line was getting hysterical. Her shouting nearly deafened Jiang Xiaoyong in both ears. He had to hold the phone at arm's length, but her voice was still painfully loud. But she wasn't done. She kept on ranting. Cui Jing only disappeared to test you a little. And you already failed. You'd better bring the deed to your house and 1 million yuan here and beg for forgiveness on your knees. If you do, I'll help you talk Cui Jing around. Otherwise, just get ready to be dumped. If this were the old Jiang Xiaoyong, he would have scrambled to please Cui Jing immediately. But after seeing her true colors and the kind of people she surrounds herself with, he was a different man now. The words from Cui Jing's friend on the phone only fueled his fury. The moment she finished speaking, he didn't hold back, shouting his replies straight into the phone. He brought the phone right up to his mouth and roared. What the hell do you two want? Someone like her isn't worthy of me. Piss off. Hearing Jiang Xiaoyong's outburst, the girl on the phone was at a loss for words. She could only stammer. Jiang Xiaoyong, how dare you? It was as if his rage had finally erupted, bursting out of him. All his pent-up resentment made him unable to tolerate those brainless women any longer. Jiang Xiaoyong sank onto the sofa, throwing his arms back and tilting his head up with a long sigh. Now, his mind was focused solely on completing the apocalypse mission. He stared at the ceiling, lost in thought. A piece of land, huh? Then, he began to think about what he would do. Once he bought the land, I have to build it into a real, fortified base. A fortress. It can't just be for defense. It needs to be hard to attack and close to a water source and a forest. His mind made up, Jiang Xiaoyong went straight to a real estate agency. It was a large agency, and the employees looked reputable and professional. Everything about the place was luxurious. The only one who looked out of place was Jiang Xiaoyong, dressed in his plain clothes to buy property. The moment he stepped into the lobby, a female employee came to greet him. She was prompt and polite, bowing to the new customer before asking, "Welcome, sir. Are you here to buy or rent a property today?" He stood with his hands in his pockets, pausing for a second. Not keeping her waiting, Jiang Xiaoyong replied cheerfully, "Neither, actually. I'm here to." Before he could finish his sentence, a man approached from behind the employee calling out, "Xiao Ning." This man was Director Zhu, the sales director of the real estate company. With a stern face, he gave an order to the employee named Xiao Ning. "Xiao Ning, get to the back and help move the filing cabinets. We have a lot of paperwork today." Seeing her director, the young woman bowed and respectfully tried to refuse. "Director Zhu, I need to assist this customer." The director knew that, but he grabbed Xiao Ning by the shoulder and pushed her in another direction. Then, with an annoyed expression, he said to her, "Xiao Ning, have you already forgotten everything I've taught you? You don't have an ounce of perception, do you? Now get to work. Can't you see this guy's dressed in rags?" He was chiding the new employee for not realizing that someone like Jiang Xiaoyong, who clearly had no money, wasn't worth her time. Realizing this, Jiang Xiaoyong felt a sting of indignation. He hated arrogance. He clenched his fists, trying to suppress his anger. Xiao Ning, meanwhile, was flustered at having to abandon her customer. She turned her head back and said, "But..." The director, however, shot a glance past her at Jiang Xiaoyong and taunted him. "Can't you see how ragged his clothes are? He probably couldn't even afford to buy a toilet. There's no need to waste time on his kind." Seeing her director so openly despise someone, Xiao Ning was stunned into silence. At this, Jiang Xiaoyong froze. After a moment, he spoke up. "What's that supposed to mean? Looking down your nose at people, are you?" The man was fine with looking down on others, but hearing someone talk back, he shot a furious glare at Jiang Xiaoyong. He turned to face him fully, a scornful smirk on his face. He sneered at Jiang Xiaoyong. "I'm looking down my nose at a stray dog. So what?" He was implying that with his status, he could treat anyone however he pleased. He was judging a book by its cover. But he wasn't done, continuing to gloat. "A guy like you, if you can even afford a toilet in here, I'll eat shit for you." Hearing this, Jiang Xiaoyong seemed to have a plan forming in his mind. He stared daggers at the smug manager, his silence filled with unspoken meaning. The manager had made a foolish vow. Seizing the opportunity, Jiang Xiaoyong delivered a single line to trap him. He stood before the manager and the employee, Xiao Ning, and glared at the man. His brow furrowed as he spoke with dead certainty. "All right, those were your words. You just wait. I'll make sure to find you something nice and hot and stinky." No one knew just how much money Jiang Xiaoyong had, except for himself. His face was a mask of pure confidence. He reached into his pocket and, with 2 fingers, pulled out a black card. With a triumphant flourish, he held it out. He said softly, "Mississippi, I'm not here today to rent land or a house." And then, he deliberately emphasized the next words, making them loud and clear. "I'm here to buy land." As he spoke, Jiang Xiaoyong shoved the hand holding the black card toward the arrogant manager. At first, the man had looked at Jiang Xiaoyong's simple clothes with contempt. But now he was so shocked and flustered that he broke out in a cold sweat. Seeing this, the employee, Xiao Ning, was also taken aback. Sensing that things were taking an interesting turn, a crowd began to gather around the 3 of them. When the onlookers saw the card in Jiang Xiaoyong's hand, they were all completely stunned. Everyone's jaws dropped. A man in the front cried out in disbelief. "What? Buying land? Did I hear that right? Does he have any idea how much that costs?" Another man behind him grimaced and remarked, "I've been alive for 30 years, and I've never seen anyone buy land with a black card before." Soon, the whole crowd was buzzing with hushed, excited whispers. "Is he a tycoon?" "No, this is a real tycoon." Xiao Ning really lucked out. The customer she was so patiently helping turns out to be a mega-millionaire. She quickly bowed, gesturing for Jiang Xiaoyong to come inside. Yes, of course. This way, sir. I'll go over the details for you right away." Jiang Xiaoyong quickly followed the guidance of the employee, Xiao Ning. She treated him with the utmost respect and enthusiasm. The manager was left standing there, seething with resentment. He glared at Jiang Xiaoyong's back, grinding his teeth. Looking thoroughly annoyed, he intentionally spoke loud enough for Jiang Xiaoyong to hear. "Who do you think you're showing off for?" When it's time to pay up, I bet you won't be able to produce a single dime. The two of them arrived at the reception area, reserved exclusively for major clients. Jiang Xiaoyong was seated at a private consultation table. The employee, Xiao Ning, respectfully presented him with a portfolio of land plots the company was currently offering. She said, "These are some of the plots our company currently owns. Please have a look at the overview, and then I can provide you with more detailed information." As the paper was brought closer, Jiang Xiaoyong waved his hand dismissively. He was a straightforward person. No beating around the bush. He knew what he wanted. Jiang Xiaoyong looked at Xiao Ning with a serious expression. "Let's not waste time and energy on that. I'll tell you what I need, and you can see if you have it." Hearing this, Xiao Ning immediately replied, "Of course, sir. Please go ahead." He was buying this land to prepare for the coming apocalypse. Therefore, Jiang Xiaoyong based his criteria on what would be suitable for survival when the disaster struck. He stroked his chin in thought for a moment before speaking. It needs to be surrounded by mountains and rivers. A source of fresh, running water is best. Convenient road access. And it would be even better if there's a building, like a factory or something larger, already on the property. For a normal land buyer in this day and age, these conditions were utterly bizarre. The employee couldn't help but feel bewildered. She hesitated for a moment. Clutching the documents to her chest, she replied, let me think." Just then, the manager walked into the room, a sour look plastered on his face. He had overheard Jiang Xiaoyong's conditions. He sneered as he cut into their conversation. "Doesn't the plot in East Shandong City meet all his requirements?" Hearing the manager's voice, Xiao Ning turned in surprise. "Oh, director? Ah, yes. The East Shandong district?" As a conscientious employee, the mention of the East Shandong plot made her immediately and frankly remind her superior. "Director Zhu, are you talking about the old tea estate? That place is no good. There are a bunch of half-finished factories there, and the whole situation is still a mess." Clearly, this guy knew the land was a bad deal, but he pitched it to Jiang Xiaoyong anyway. He was being malicious. He's just plain rotten. Hung stood over Jiang Xiaoyong, looking down at him with a cold, mocking expression. "Sell it? Yeah, right. A broke-ass bum like you comes in here with all these ridiculous demands. He's obviously not here to buy anything. He's just here to cause trouble." Ignoring the scumbag's taunts, Jiang Xiaoyong calmly asked Xiao Ning about the property. He'd heard something that piqued his interest. "So, the property in the East District, can it really meet all my requirements?" The girl answered him quickly, though with some hesitation. "Yes, it can. But the issue is the rooms above the factory floor are dilapidated and a mess. And the construction foreman has already skipped town." He quickly grabbed the file, flipping to the page with the picture of the property to examine it. Jiang Xiaoyong read intently, his mind racing. The location is perfect. It meets every single one of my requirements. Sturdy barbed wire fence, easy to defend, hard to attack. And the factory construction is only partially complete, which is just right. This could save me a ton of time and money on construction. Realizing the property was indeed a perfect fit, Jiang Xiaoyong quickly handed the file back to the employee, Xiao Ning, and said, "This property, I'll take it. We can handle the payment and sign the contract now, right?" She couldn't imagine how Jiang Xiaoyong could agree to buy such a desolate piece of land with so many disadvantages. The employee, Xiao Ning, reflexively bowed as she took the file and I'm sorry, sir. Huh? But wait, something's not right. Our dear Xiao Ning thought she'd misheard him. She jumped, her eyes widening, her face a mask of sheer disbelief. She let out a little huh, just to be sure. The flustered girl asked again. Bowing respectfully, she looked hesitant to ask Jiang Xiaoyong again. "Yes, sir. Sir, do you really want to buy the property with the unfinished factory?" Without a shred of hesitation, Jiang Xiaoyong replied, not forgetting to throw a jab at Director Chu, who stood dumbfounded behind them. "Yep, of course. Let's hurry up and sign the contract, so I can pay. After all, someone's got a plate of crap to eat soon." Hearing this, the director was speechless, grinding his teeth in pure, unadulterated rage. It was truly an unlucky day for Director Chu. He had offered Jiang Xiaoyong the worst property on purpose to chase him away. Who would have thought it would be a perfect fit, and he'd buy it on the spot? He'd walked right into his own trap. Director Chu held the receipt in his hand, shouting in agitation. "No, It can't be. This is impossible. Just a moment ago, he was so arrogant, looking down on others. Now, he had to pay the price for his actions. His vow to eat shit, if Jiang Xiaoyong could afford the land, had now become a very big problem. The director clutched his sweaty head. 300,000. This is 300,000. A down payment of 300,000? Who in their right mind would spend millions on a piece of land with an unfinished factory? I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Seeing Director Chu's furious expression, Jiang Xiaoyong got up, walked over to him, and placed a hand on his shoulder, patting it gently. He gave him a dangerous smirk and a gentle reminder. Buddy, I've already paid up. Now, it's your turn to perform. Just make sure you enjoy your meal, and I'll be sure to send you a rocket for the stream. That'll teach him to look down on people. The director stood frozen like a statue. His face was pale, sweat pouring down his skin. Jiang Xiaoyong couldn't care less about what happened next. He turned and walked away. The director's colleagues had been watching the whole drama unfold. They were just waiting for Jiang Xiaoyong to seal the deal so they could start a live stream of their boss fulfilling his promise. The one with the phone quickly ran up and said, "Hey, big guy, I've already started the live stream for you. Go on, get to it." His colleagues were all too enthusiastic. Another man ran up from behind and eagerly chimed in. "Hey, fatty, my stomach's a bit upset today, but I promised to save the freshest batch just for you." The director thought it was all just talk, never imagining his colleagues would actually hold him to it. He flinched, trying to resist. The man held the phone up close, right in Director Zhu's face, and said, gloating, "Hey, big guy, you want some lobster? I just had some last night. I bet there's still a little meat left inside." With one mission complete, a notification from the system popped up. System mission name. Prepare for the coming disaster. Mission requirement. Own a plot of land. No more than one. Prepare a year's worth of supplies. Points can be exchanged for rewards in the system shop. Walking alone through the lobby on his way out, Jiang Xiaoyong had his hands stuffed in his pockets. "I used the betrothal money to buy the land. Now I need to figure out how to get some cash to start stockpiling supplies." Deep in thought about the system mission, Jiang Xiaoyong didn't notice a man in a white suit. As they bumped into each other, this man was none other than Li Shuxiong, the man Jiang Xiaoyong's current girlfriend, Cui Jing, was cheating on him with. He recognized Jiang Xiaoyong. He turned his head, watching Jiang Xiaoyong's retreating figure with a puzzled look. "Huh, isn't that Jiang Xiaoyong? What's he doing here?" Shrugging it off, he turned back and continued into the lobby. Suddenly, Li Shuxiong froze, startled by the sight before him. Director Zhu was surrounded by a crowd of company employees. One man held a lump of shit in his hand, shoving it right into the director's mouth. With his other hand, he pried the man's mouth wide open to make it easier. Director Zhu was held down tightly. Another man stood above them, live streaming the entire scene on his phone. It was pure chaos in such a luxurious place. Seeing this, Li Shuxiong shouted, "What the hell do you think you're doing?" The scene shifts to Cui Jing's home. The woman looks seductive in a pair of short shorts and long fishnet stockings. Her low-cut top revealed her ample chest. Sitting alone, she playfully took a drag from her cigarette, looking every bit the part of a bad girl. Her phone buzzed on the table with an incoming call. It was an unsaved number. She answered quickly, her voice dripping with flirtation. "Li Shuxiong, so you finally decided to think of me, huh?" Before she could finish, the panicked voice of Li Shuxiong yelled from the other end, telling her about Jiang Xiaoyong. Cui Jing. Jiang Xiaoyong was at the real estate company today, buying land. Did you know about this? The moment she heard the words, buying land, Cui Jing shot to her feet. She furiously slammed her hand on her vanity, making a loud crash. Completely losing her cool, she shrieked. "What? He bought land? Where the hell did he get the money for that?" From the other end of the line, Li Shuxiong quickly supplied more information. "The down payment was 100 million. I'm guessing it was the money he'd saved up for your betrothal gift." Hearing this, the shameless woman screamed into the phone. Her face twisted with rage, as if her entire family fortune had just been stolen. "What? That bastard. How dare he spend my money?" In her mind, any money Jiang Xiaoyong used was automatically hers. This kind of thinking, she could really use a reality check. Li Shuxiong tried to calm Cui Jing. "First of all, don't get angry. Go find that bastard Jiang Xiaoyong right now and ask him what the hell is going on." At this point, with the money she considered her wedding gift now gone, Cui Jing had completely lost her mind. She snapped back at Li Shuxiong, her voice filled with rage, as if the money was truly hers. Ask him what? That son of a bitch. He dared to take my money. I swear I'm going to plaster his face all over social media today. Meanwhile, at Jiang Xiaoyong's house, he was still racking his brain over the system's mission. He had just spent all the money he'd saved to marry Cui Jing on the down payment for the land. Now, Jiang Xiaoyong desperately needed a lot of cash to buy enough supplies for a year. He sat on the sofa, chin in his hand, trying to focus on his financial problem. Buying supplies and building a base is going to cost a fortune. Where am I supposed to get that kind of money now? His concentration was shattered. Someone was at the door. They were pounding on it like a maniac. Jiang Xiaoyong glanced back, annoyed. Damn it. Who the hell is knocking like that? He got up to open the door. It was his girlfriend, Cui Jing, and her best friend. Seeing the two women looking frantic at his doorstep, Jiang Xiaoyong spoke first. What are you two doing here? But Cui Jing was already fuming. She stood there confidently, her feet planted wide in an aggressive stance. Her face was a mask of fury, her eyebrows knitted together. Then, she opened her mouth and screamed in his face. Jiang Xiaoyong, Jiang Xiaoyong. What the hell is that supposed to mean? How dare you spend my money? Her friend, standing behind her with a grim expression, backed her up. Hearing her nasty accusations, a million questions flooded Jiang Xiaoyong's mind. What the hell is she talking about? But Xiaoyong was no longer the lovesick fool he used to be. He was completely and utterly fed up with her act. His face twisted in anger as he shot back. Huh? What are you even talking about? The old Jiang Xiaoyong truly must have been a fool. But Cui Jing just kept pushing her luck. She pointed a finger right in his face. Jiang Xiaoyong, and screeched at him. Don't you dare think I don't know. You used my dowry money to buy that plot of land. Let me tell you something. That dowry money is mine. Since you used it to buy the land, then that land belongs to me. This woman was seriously delusional. Since when is that a rule? Jiang Xiaoyong was speechless at Cui Jing's audacity. He looked at her with pure contempt. Then he sneered. You're completely insane. He pulled out a thick stack of cash and tapped it against the greedy woman's shoulder. He roared, let me make one thing clear. I've got nothing but money. Then Jiang Xiaoyong stared her straight in the eye, delivering a final blow to make the brainless beauty understand her place. But even if it was just 1 penny, I wouldn't give a single cent to you. Staring at the stack of cash on her shoulder, Cui Jing was completely stunned. She froze, speechless, as if her pressure points had been struck. Jiang Xiaoyong continued, his words sharp and direct. And don't think for a second that I'm clueless. I know exactly what you and that Li Shuxiong have been doing behind my back. Only then did she realize just how much her boyfriend had changed. And yet, Cui Jing felt her face turned purple with rage, her eyes glaring daggers at Xiaoyong. She thought to herself, what's going on? How could he possibly know about me and Li Shuxiong? Seeing how tense things had become, and seeing Jiang Xiaoyong truly furious with Cui Jing for the first time ever, her best friend quickly stepped in to play peacemaker. Hey now, both of you just calm down a little. It's normal for couples to fight. Cui Jing couldn't get a word out, just standing there, seething. Jiang Xiaoyong had no desire to deal with them any longer. He grabbed the door. Fury. He spat out one last tirade. Misunderstanding, my ass. There is no misunderstanding. She and Li Shuxiong are the real couple here. Now get the hell out. And with that, our hero, Jiang Xiaoyong, mercilessly slammed the door in the face of his shameless girlfriend, Cui Jing. He left them with one final, blunt command. Get lost. Just looking at you pisses me off. Cui Jing, meanwhile, was utterly bewildered. Not because she'd lost her boyfriend, but because she couldn't figure out how he'd discovered her affair. She wondered, how is this possible? How could he have found out? Every time I booked a room, I was so careful. After their failed confrontation, the two beautiful girls, who loved to live lavishly but hated to work, reluctantly called the elevator to leave. They stood there, waiting. Seeing Cui Jing was clearly distraught. Her friend gently took her hand. Jing, something this huge is going on, and you didn't tell me? Are you really involved with that middle-aged guy, Li Shuxiong? Cui Jing was an emotional wreck. She crossed her arms, hung her head, and confessed. We only went to motel a few times, that's all. Hearing this gave her best friend an instant headache. She rubbed her forehead and said with a tone of utter helplessness, okay, this situation has gone completely sideways. Let's get back first and figure out how to deal with this. With no other options, Cui Jing reluctantly agreed. Yeah, that's all we can do for now. Ding! The elevator arrived. The doors slid open. The two of them walked inside together. Just then, the best friend, standing behind Cui Jing, finally showed her true colors. She thought to herself, a sly look on her face as she stared at Cui Jing's back. Oh, Cui Jing, since you've already picked a fight with Jiang Xiaoyong, then I won't be holding back any longer. After all, we're best friends, aren't we? She chuckled to herself. This girl had been eyeing Jiang Xiaoyong for a long time, but Cui Jing was always in the way. Now that she saw the two of them at odds, she plotted to use this opportunity to win Jiang Xiaoyong's affection. After dealing with those two troublesome women, Jiang Xiaoyong went to the plot of land he had just bought to check on the construction of the half-finished factory. He asked the person in charge, I need to renovate this factory. Figure out how long it will take to complete. Jiang Xiaoyong and contractor Li studied the construction blueprints. Contractor Li began to list the items. Rebuild the walls. Build a watchtower. Texas-style steel mesh, plus heavy-duty reinforced steel doors. Reinforced glass. Bulletproof. After going over the list, the contractor folded up the blueprints and gave Jiang Xiaoyong a light-hearted look. Let me ask you something. Did you piss off some powerful people or something? But Jiang Xiaoyong just closed his eyes. He made it clear he didn't want to answer, his voice taking on a dangerous edge. Don't ask too many questions. Knowing too much won't be good for you. How much to get it done in 1 month? Just name your price. Hearing the 1-month deadline, Contractor Li jumped and quickly replied. 1 month? That's impossible, sir. Jiang Xiaoyong pressured him further. Just say it. If you can't deliver, your entire company will be making headlines. Finding Jiang Xiaoyong's demands too unreasonable, the contractor cried out in exasperation. Oh, for heaven's sake, my guys have to live too. Jiang Xiaoyong didn't back down. Wow, such a humane boss, aren't you? Then, the contractor sheepishly told him the truth. What you need. His eyes crinkled as he let out an awkward, knowing laugh. No, wait, boss. What I mean is more money. With enough cash, anything's possible. Jiang Xiaoyong looked completely fed up. He asked coldly, how much? Contractor Li timidly held up 2 fingers. Boss, if it has to be done in 1 month, I'll have to push my entire company to work around the clock. It'll cost at least this much. Glancing at the contractor's hesitant eyes, Jiang Xiaoyong guessed. 2 million? The contractor immediately replied. That's right, but we'll need a deposit of at least 500,000, just so we can stay afloat. Accepting the contractor's terms, Jiang Xiaoyong crossed his arms and replied, I'll send the money within a week. You can have your workers start construction first. Hearing that the money would come later, the contractor became a little flustered. He quickly interrupted, but, understanding the man's anxiety, Jiang Xiaoyong clapped him on the shoulder reassuringly. Don't worry, I'm not going to stiff you on the payment. If I don't pay, you could just take this land. Another promise, so typically, Jiang Xiaoyong. The contractor was still a bit hesitant, but faced with such a major client, he had no choice but to concede. All right, then it's settled. With everything settled, somehow, Cui Jing's best friend found out the address of the land Jiang Xiaoyong had bought. She now approached Jiang Xiaoyong, skipping cheerfully as she called out to him. Jiang Xiaoyong. Jiang Xiaoyong turned, recognizing the familiar, syrupy voice. Suddenly, she lunged forward and grabbed his arm. She deliberately pressed it against her ample chest as she asked him questions with a bright, cheerful expression. Startled, Jiang Xiaoyong tried to pull his arm away, but she held on tight, refusing to let go. Cui Jing's best friend, tapping into some kind of shameless, man-stealing sixth sense. She quickly mashed her chest against his arm and whined coquettishly. Hey there, Xiaoyong. What are you doing all the way out here? Her head pressed tightly, playing the part. Jiang Xiaoyong was getting really annoyed. He glanced at the pest who'd been clinging to him this whole time and thought bitterly. Shove. This two-faced schemer. In my past life, Cui Jing swindled me out of everything. My family's entire fortune. And you were right there with her. In this life, I'll make you both pay me back double. He couldn't stand the sight of her, but he forced his voice to stay level as he asked a simple question. What are you doing here? True colors. Without even answering Xiaoyong's question, the schemer moved in closer. She fawned over him, her questions only about the land. Her eyes crinkled into a syrupy, sweet smile. She asked cheerfully, Jiang Xiaoyong. Jianggij. Is this the land you just bought? The view here is so beautiful. Just gorgeous. You're planning on building a huge villa here, aren't you? Her tone might have been sweet, but her words were grating, especially coming from a two-faced gold digger like her. Jiang Xiaoyong violently shoved her hand away. He aggressively put some distance between them. He shot her a look that could kill, his blunt words like a splash of ice water to her face. What I do is none of your business. Cui Jing's best friend was completely stunned by Jiang Xiaoyong's harsh rejection. He walked off to another area, keeping his distance. Jiang Xiaoyong completely immersed himself in the construction work, paying no mind to the schemer in the corner, who was gritting her teeth in silent fury. She couldn't stop questioning his behavior. What's going on? Why is that loser Jiang Xiaoyong acting so strange today? Normally, his face would be beet red, his heart pounding out his chest, just from our hands touching. Today, I went out of my way to touch him, and he had no reaction at all. Just then, Jiang Xiaoyong spotted two men taking measurement. He ran over, pointing, and ordered, "No, that's wrong. The main gate needs to be wider." He left the schemer standing there alone. She called after him awkwardly, "Hey, wait, this girl really has no shame. If Cui Jing is bad, this one is 100 times worse. She has no ambition beyond using her looks to seduce men. She's absolutely venomous." Her fists clenched with the determination to steal Jiang Xiaoyong from Cui Jing and get her hands on this land. No way. I can't let this perfect opportunity slip away. Cui Jing and him are already on the outs. All I have to do is crush Cui Jing, and this land will be mine. After finishing up at the construction site, Jiang Xiaoyong returned to his apartment, sinking into the familiar sofa. He seemed completely consumed by the land project, oblivious to anyone or anything else. He stared at the two red property deeds on the table. He was deep in thought, calculating. I mortgaged the house and only got 300 million. That's not even enough to cover the project's first phase. I have to find another way to make money. Placing a hand on one of the deeds, he hesitated for a long moment, his face darkening as an idea formed. Then it hit him. Oh, right. Of course. The apocalypse is coming soon anyway. So what does it matter if I sell the house to multiple people? It's a win-win, really. No one gets hurt. They won't need money when the world ends. I'll just consider this an advance payment. Jiang Xiaoyong pressed his lips into a thin line, his mind made up. Let's do it. But just as one problem was solved, another arose. A man outside Jiang Xiaoyong's door began pounding on it furiously. He roared relentlessly. Open up. Open the damn door now. Jiang Xiaoyong whipped his head toward the door, his face a mask of irritation. He muttered, "Son of a bitch. What pain in the ass is it now?" Then he recognized the voice. It was that neighbor of his, the one who was always looking for a fight. Jiang Xiaoyong headed for the door. As he reached for the knob, he knew exactly who it was. It has to be that guy, Li Dejia, my downstairs neighbor. Who else? The guy's loaded. That greedy old bastard already owns the first and second floors, and now he's stirring up trouble again, trying to force me to sell him the third. But I always planned to keep this apartment for when I got married, so I refused to sell. And that's when the old man started his campaign of harassment, causing scenes, and splashing paint all over my door. Accusations, setting traps. He's using every dirty trick in the book just to mess with me. The moment I swung the door open, a stooped old man was standing there. His hair was flecked with gray. He wore a simple, worn-out jacket, looking every bit as stingy and petty as he was. The old man immediately started shouting at Jiang Xiaoyong. "Were you stomping around again last night?" No longer willing to put up with it, Jiang Xiaoyong shot back with a newfound firmness, his hand still gripping the door. "Are you done making a scene? I was in bed before 10 last night." "Stomping? What stomping?" But the old man wouldn't back down. He puffed out his chest, trying to shout even louder than Xiaoyong. His mouth opened wide as he yelled, "I don't care. I know what I heard." Not wanting to argue any further, Jiang Xiaoyong waved his hand dismissively. He turned his head away, looking thoroughly exhausted with the old man. Since he needed to sell the house anyway, Xiaoyong decided to just go for it. "All right, stop. Just stop. You want my house, don't you? I've had enough of this." "Fine. I'll sell it to you." Hearing this, the old man froze for a few seconds. He couldn't believe Xiaoyong would agree to sell so easily. The old man, Li, asked again in disbelief, "Are you serious? Really?" A wave of excitement washed over him. Jiang Xiaoyong crossed his arms and cut him off. But I have one condition. Old Manly straightened up, narrowing his eyes. What condition? Holding the upper hand. Jiang Xiaoyong confidently laid out his terms. I won't get my new apartment for another 6 months. So, I need to stay here until then. And you have to pay me the full 5 million up front. I need it to pay off the loan on my new place. Got it? Old Manly hesitated. Well, before he could think it over or try to negotiate, Jiang Xiaoyong started to close the door. He said with his eyes half closed, if you can't agree, then forget it. Seeing Jiang Xiaoyong about to shut the door, Old Manly panicked. He quickly stuck his head through the closing gap. His hand shot out to stop the door as he looked up at Xiaoyong and quickly agreed. He said, fine, but we need a contract, so there are no problems later. The fish has taken the bait. But Jiang Xiaoyong maintained his calm facade. He said, a contract is fine. Don't you worry. Inwardly, Xiaoyong was celebrating. His eyes narrowed. He gave Old Manly a dark look and thought, this damn old fool. You just wait. You're a dead man walking. A short while later, just as promised, the old man transferred the full payment for the house to Xiaoyong. He checked his phone. Looking at the balance, he calculated. Okay, I got the 5 million from Old Manly. Add the 3 million from the loan, and that gives me a total of 8 million. A system panel lit up with a notification. System quest. Quest requirement. Owneth the plot of land. Prepare 1 year's worth of supplies. 0/365. Quest reward, 10 points. Points can be exchanged for rewards in the system mall. Jiang Xiaoyong tapped the claim button, but it was grayed out. The quest wasn't complete. Then Xiaoyong thought, guess I should finish the system quest before I can get the reward. The scene shifts to the city's largest shopping mall. The place was massive and modern. With his pockets full of cash, Jiang Xiaoyong was fired up. Time to start the 1-year food supply mission. He zipped through the supermarket, pushing a shopping cart. In no time, the system panel updated. Prepare 1 year's worth of supplies. 359/365 days. The people around him stared at his strange behavior. Everyone was surprised, whispering amongst themselves. A man muttered to the woman next to him, I think that guy's not all there. The woman in the brown coat watched him warily and replied, yeah, let's keep our distance. The clattering of shopping carts grew louder and louder. It didn't take long for Jiang Xiaoyong to fill a dozen shopping carts to the brim with essentials. The spectacle drew quite a crowd. The man and woman from earlier were still watching Jiang Xiaoyong. She watched him wipe the sweat from his brow, exhausted from his frantic shopping spree. She couldn't help but wonder, why is he buying so much stuff? What would he possibly need it all for? The man beside her scoffed, probably just another idiot. He must have bought into those doomsday rumors. He burst out laughing. Haha. It seemed all the effort Jiang Xiaoyong put in these past few days wasn't for nothing. Just then, ping. A system notification popped up, informing him that he had completed the mission. Mission. Complete disaster preparations. System points plus 10. Current balance, 10. With 10 system points in hand, Jiang Xiaoyong immediately opened the system store to look for something useful. He quickly spotted something that seemed perfect for his situation. Hit. In the apocalypse, boosting your stats is crucial, and this protagonist supply crate is exactly 10 points. This feels like a solid choice. Jiang Xiaoyong made up his mind. No more hesitation. I need to press my advantage right away. Gotta be decisive. All right, I'm choosing the protagonist supply crate. Without another thought, he decisively tapped the button for the protagonist supply crate. Instantly, a system notification appeared. Purchase successful. 10 points deducted. Current balance, 0. A glowing box materialized in front of him. It was adorned with glowing question marks, and an infinity symbol floated above it. The supply crate opened. Inside was a titanium-colored ring, set with a large violet diamond. At the same time, a description of the ring appeared. Level 1 Spatial Ring. Ability contains a 500 square meter pocket dimension. Time is frozen within the pocket dimension. Jiang Xiaoyong held his hands out as the radiant ring floated before him. It hovered gently between his palms. Its glow illuminated Jiang Xiaoyong's mesmerized face. His eyes were wide with awe. His mouth hung open in disbelief. A triumphant thought crossed his mind. I knew it. My gut was right. Of course, the first pull is always a jackpot. Jiang Xiaoyong gazed at the ring. a small smile playing on his lips as a thought occurred to him. Time is frozen inside a pocket dimension. That means even if I stock up on fresh food, it'll never go bad. This is perfect. Just as he was savoring the sweet reward from his first mission, before he could even fully enjoy it, the system announced a new mission. New mission, 10 years of plenty. Objective, 10 years of supplies. No item valued over 10 points. Reward, 20 points. Suddenly, a loud voice boomed from nearby. "Who's there?" the man shouted as he approached. "Who dares cause a scene in here?" The man carried himself with an untouchable arrogance. He was flanked by 2 security guards. He was wearing a suit, so he must be some kind of manager here at the mall. The man in the suit had a square face. As he got closer, the moment he saw the troublemaker, Jiang Xiaoyong asked, startled, "You're Jiang Xiaoyong?" The man clearly recognized him, but his hostile expression didn't change. And our Jiang Xiaoyong recognized him as well. He knew that face and shot back a question of his own. "Yang Tao." They clearly knew each other, but it was far from a happy reunion. Jiang Xiaoyong's expression showed his clear dislike for the man. It turns out Yang Tao was an old classmate of his, and there was bad blood between them. They had a history. Jiang Xiaoyong watched him, lost in thought. Yang Tao was my classmate. Back in middle school, all he ever did was act as a lapdog for that school bully, Zhang Sheng. He only knew how to pick on the weak and kiss up to the strong. The memory surfaced of the days when the arrogant Yang Tao and his cronies would corner him to collect protection money. Back then, Yang Tao had no respect for anyone. Even though we were the same age, he always had to act like he was in charge. He'd bark orders at the younger Xiaoyong. Last week's protection money was 10 yuan. Hand it over. Now. But even then, Jiang Xiaoyong wasn't a coward. He shot back at the gang of troublemakers. "Like hell. If you want it, go get it from Zhang Sheng yourself." Jiang Xiaoyong's mind drifted back to the past. "We clashed all the time back in school. I can't believe I'd run into him here." Without a second thought, Yang Tao jabbed a finger right in Jiang Xiaoyong's face. With zero respect, he bellowed aggressively. "Jiang Xiaoyong, what the hell do you think you're doing? Put all this stuff back where you found it. If you don't blame me for getting rough." TCH, seeing an ordinary-looking guy like Jiang Xiaoyong with so many carts, he was sure the kid was just here to cause trouble. That, combined with their old grudge, made him feel bold enough to be this brazen. But Jiang Xiaoyong knew exactly what kind of person Yang Tao was, so he remained perfectly calm. He just gave a cool, quiet reply. "Huh. Yang Tao, still bullying the weak and fearing the strong. Huh. I'm here to shop. Is this how you people at Huan Mart treat your customers?" Jiang Xiaoyong stood among the scattered shopping carts. His sharp glare made him seem unapproachable. Hearing this only made Yang Tao even more cocky. He grew more aggressive and issued a challenge. "Xiaoyong, shopping you say?" He kept his finger pointed at him, an incredibly rude gesture to make at a customer. "Fine, go pay for all this right now. If you can't, don't blame us for throwing you out." It was a mystery how a thug like Yang Tao could ever get a job in a major shopping center like this. An hour later, Jiang Xiaoyong's ridiculously long receipt finally finished printing. The supermarket had to assign 4 cashiers just to ring up his order. Yang Tao had been standing nearby, watching the entire time. He strode over to the cashier and demanded, "What's the total?" The girl looked at the massive receipt in her hand, exhausted. Breaking a sweat, she answered, "The total comes to 56,824,300. She held out the payment terminal. Yang Tao rudely jabbed his finger right in Jiang Xiaoyong's face and yelled, "Pay up." His smugness was palpable. Jiang Xiaoyong found him completely insufferable but remained silent. Instead, he coolly presented the legendary black card. With a soft beep, Jiang Xiaoyong tapped the card decisively against the machine. It was a gesture filled with power. His eyes said everything. They held all the fury he'd been suppressing this whole time. Instantly, the terminal lit up with a transaction approved message. Staring at the screen, Yang Tao's eyes went wide. He couldn't believe what he was seeing, muttering through gritted teeth. "Transaction approved?" He let out an angry grunt. Without another word, he turned to leave, waving for the 2 security guards behind him to follow. "Let's go." "Not so fast." Jiang Xiaoyong wasn't about to let him slink away that easily. He called out sharply after Yang Tao, "Hold it right there." But the thug was as aggressive as ever. He whipped his head around, his fists clenched tight. Jiang Xiaoyong's expression remained perfectly composed. A smirk played on his lips as he called Yang Tao out on his behavior. After that lovely attitude you showed me, I believe you owe me an apology. If I don't get one, I'll be returning every single one of these items. But Yang Tao just continued to be unreasonable. He was clearly in the wrong, yet he still wanted to argue. His face twisted into a scowl as he yelled in the middle of the crowded shopping center. Don't you push your luck. Are you still trying to cause trouble for me? He was the one who had gone too far, yet he was the one making threats. He was the thief, crying thief. Many of the nearby shoppers had witnessed the entire exchange. Fed up with the injustice, a beautiful girl who had been watching finally snapped, yelling at Yang Tao in Jiang Xiaoyong's defense. You're the jerk who's disrespecting everyone here. Weren't you just incredibly rude to him? Now all he's asking for is an apology. That's hardly asking too much. The big, handsome guy standing near. Exactly. Apologize now. Otherwise, we're not buying anything either. Luckily for Jiang Xiaoyong, an idol-like young man standing in front, who had been recording Yang Tao on his phone, warned him. I've recorded everything. Apologize now, or I'll make sure the whole country knows what you've done. The tables had turned. All the advantages and support now sided with Jiang Xiaoyong. Jiang Xiaoyong remained composed and dignified, then lightly prompted Yang Tao. Apologize. If you apologize sincerely enough, I'll buy 10 times this much. Yang Tao, hearing this, defiantly retorted. Quit spouting nonsense. Jiang Xiaoyong then pulled out his formidable black card. With a bright smile, he laughed proudly as he replied, Bluffing, am I? Bring a machine over. Let me show you my balance. Seeing the black color on the payment card, Yang Tao felt a sudden pang of apprehension. He handed the POS machine to Xiaoyong to swipe it again and check the balance. The machine processed it in a flash. That's truly the swipe style of a wealthy man. Xiaoyong swiped quickly, cleanly, and decisively. Yang Tao held the POS machine, his mind utterly bewildered. His eyes bulging, he couldn't believe it and shouted, staring at the balance on the screen. What? Over 7 billion. Facing the man he had just antagonized. And, above all, realizing that man was a true magnate. The magnate, Jiang Xiaoyong, now wore a stern expression. He opened his mouth and spoke with utter contempt. Apologize. I'll keep buying after you apologize. If I'm lying, then I'm your grandson. Jiang Xiaoyong felt deeply satisfied inside. Those words were truly agonizing for Yang Tao. He was both humiliated and mocked for his appearance, as he really did look old enough to be Xiaoyong's uncle. Under the immense pressure of money, Yang Tao broke out in a cold sweat. He could only remain silent, with an expression of extreme bitterness. Consider this a memorable lesson for this bully who preys on the weak. After hesitating for a moment, he finally had to submit. He pressed his hands to his sides and bowed respectfully, more than 90 degrees, apologizing to Xiaoyong. He looked utterly pathetic. Swallowing his pride, Yang Tao said loudly, I apologize to you. Is that all compared to his arrogant demeanor? For just now? Jiang Xiaoyong walked closer, placed a hand on his head, and patted it as if stroking a dog. He cheerfully advised, remember not to be so reckless again. All right? Understood? Yang Tao's face, struggling to hold back his fury, looked like a tightly bound sack of rice. Yang Tao now was no different from the Yang Tao of old. He would fawn over the rich and bully the weak. Seeing Jiang Xiaoyong walk away without another word, he quickly lifted his head and changed his expression, adopting a different one as he respectfully questioned Xiaoyong. So, Xiaoyong, what do you plan to do with so many items? Jiang Xiaoyong looked utterly exasperated. He didn't even bother looking at Yang Tao as he replied, That's none of your concern. I have my own business to handle. Changing his expression faster than rice paper, Yang Tao put on a cheerful and enthusiastic face. He grinned so widely his eyes nearly disappeared. His old demeanor returned. His boisterous tone from earlier was gone, replaced by a softer voice. Big business, huh? The small supermarket doesn't have enough stock right now, so you think it's insufficient, and you're looking to find more elsewhere? Hearing this, Jiang Xiaoyong turned his head to look at Yang Tao and asked, You've been working in this supermarket for many years. You must know where to source supplies, right? Yang Tao quickly replied, Of course. Do you still remember Zhang Shengji? He's currently in charge of these goods. Just a few seconds later, Yang Tao quickly called Zhang Shengji. He was overjoyed, as if he'd struck gold. His demeanor was so enthusiastic it bordered on servile as he spoke. "Hello, Brother Ji. I just found you a huge client." Jiang Xiaoyong stood with his arms crossed, waiting, his face. Just as I expected, Yang Tao is still Zhang Shengji's lackey. I wonder how much shady money these two have made from this Waranfa supermarket. A moment later, Jiang Xiaoyong and Yang Tao eagerly introduced the items in the warehouse. He didn't notice a car speeding straight towards them from the side. It seemed as if it was intentionally trying to cause an accident. The black car stopped abruptly, right next to Yang Tao's feet, making him jump in fright and flail his arms and legs wildly. Jiang Xiaoyong's fortitude was quite impressive. In such a sudden situation, he still stood calmly with his arms crossed, showing not the slightest hint of fear. Jiang Xiaoyong stood rooted to the spot, glaring at the driver. He couldn't help but think, son of a bitch. Driving like that, you'd think he was being chased for a gambling debt. The one who stepped out of the luxury car was Zhang Xingzhe, wearing a knee-length overcoat. He was a gaudy sight, slamming the door with one hand while holding a cigar in the other. He tilted his head back, taking a long drag before exhaling a plume of smoke. We're the same age, but he looks like some old guy in his 50s. After taking his puff, he hurried over to Yang Tao and asked anxiously, "Yang Tao, is this the VIP you were talking about?" Yang Tao practically chirped in response to Zhang Xingzhe. "Brother Zhe, this is Jiang Xiaoyong. Remember him?" Meanwhile, Jiang Xiaoyong stood with his hands in his pockets, just watching to see what these two clowns would do next. He couldn't hear him clearly. With the half-smoked cigar still dangling from his lips, he squinted in Jiang Xiaoyong's direction and asked again, "Who?" Yang Tao eagerly leaned in to introduce him again. "Jiang Xiaoyong, our old high school classmate." Hearing the name again, it clicked for Zhang Xingzhe. The hurried atmosphere calmed slightly. He took a long drag from his cigar and growled, "Oh, I remember now. Coming face to face with the guy he used to bully. Back in the day, Zhang Xingzhe had been even more of a thug than Yang Tao." He blew a long stream of smoke right into Jiang Xiaoyong's face. Jiang Xiaoyong's gaze, filled with simmering hatred, was so sharp it could have cut the man in two. The grown-up Zhang Xingzhe was no different. He hadn't changed a bit. He looked down on everyone, bullied the weak, greedy and malicious. Acting like he owned the world, he kept the cigar clamped in his mouth. His hands were stuffed in his coat pockets. Then he lifted his smug face and spoke to Jiang Xiaoyong with that same cocky tone. "You mean that stubborn little punk?" Zhang Xingzhe stepped right up to Jiang Xiaoyong. He grabbed the drawstring of Jiang Xiaoyong's hoodie, fiddling with it. Then, after scanning him with a contemptuous look, Zhang Xingzhe sneered. "A knockoff brand, huh? Huh, you just give me more reasons to look down on you. Broke, but still trying to show off. Putting on a front?" Despite the insults, Jiang Xiaoyong remained perfectly calm. He was just a little annoyed. He replied to Zhang Xingzhe with a serious expression. "A brand name? I wouldn't know. Just picked it up from a roadside stall." Zhang Xingzhe's eyebrows shot up. He whirled around and grabbed Yang Tao by the hair. His fingers dug in as he shoved Yang Tao aside, nearly making him fall. Veins bulged on Zhang Xingzhe's forehead as he ripped into Yang Tao. "Is this the big client you were talking about? You son of a bitch, you wasted my time." Yang Tao couldn't even get a word out, simply bracing himself for the onslaught. To Zhang Xingzhe, Yang Tao was nothing more than a dog. Done yanking his hair, he swung his leg back and kicked Yang Tao hard in the ass, sending him stumbling. As he got kicked, Yang Tao desperately tried to explain. "Brother Zhe, he really is a big client?" Zhang Xingzhe refused to believe it, yelling even louder. "Big client, my ass. I've been around the block for years. I can tell who's got money and who doesn't with just one look." Jiang Xiaoyong watched the two of them squabble in silence. He waited until they were finished, then spoke. "Huh, I guess my aura isn't up to par." Then, Jiang Xiaoyong's expression turned cold as he lowered his gaze and continued. He added with a smirk, "How is it that I can't even intimidate an illiterate punk who judges people with dog's eyes?" Already furious, Zhang Shengzhe heard Jiang Xiaoyong's words and completely snapped. He spun around and immediately grabbed Jiang Xiaoyong by the collar, shoving his arrogant face close to his. Zhang Xingzhe gritted his teeth and hissed at Jiang Xiaoyong. "What did you just say?" But our protagonist didn't flinch in the face of his aggression. He was completely unfazed. His blank expression shifted into a faint smile as he brought his eyes even closer to Zhang Xingzhe's face and enunciated every single word for him. "I said, That you have a dog's eyes and can't see who's standing in front of you. The cigar still jutted from his mouth, his expression tense. The muscles in his face were tight as he continued to rage. You dare call me illiterate? Jiang Xiaoyong was really pushing his buttons now. He provoked him further with a mock-innocent expression. Oh, all right, then can I just say you have dog's eyes that look down on people? The situation was getting more and more tense. Seeing that this business deal was about to fall apart, Yang Tao scrambled to mediate. He frantically waved his hands at them, saying, Brother Yang, don't push Brother's buttons. Both of you, please. He's actually illiterate, and he hates it when people point that out. That idiot Yang Tao really just had to run his mouth. The words were barely out of his mouth before Zhang Xingzhe sent him flying with a kick. Zhang Xingzhe's wound, the one from Jiang Xiaoyong, was already throbbing. Now this moron Yang Tao was just rubbing salt in it. His hand still gripping Jiang Xiaoyong's collar. He roared at Yang Tao. You son of a bitch. If you can't say anything smart, then shut your damn mouth. Immediately after, Zhang Xingzhe went into full-on thug mode. He tightened his grip on Jiang Xiaoyong's collar, his eyes bugging out as he snarled. A big client, huh? If you don't walk out of here with a truckload of my goods today, then neither you nor that idiot Yang Tao are leaving in one piece. Jiang Xiaoyong pulled out his phone. He spoke calmly to Zhang Xingzhe. Let go of my collar. Now, give me your account number. He thought Jiang Xiaoyong would be a tough nut to crack, but he was stunned by the request for his account number. Zhang Xingzhe froze, his hand still clutching the other man. Jiang Xiaoyong wasn't buying the goods out of fear. The truth was the pandemic was only a month away, and he desperately needed these supplies. A few minutes later, a notification pinged on Zhang Xingzhe's phone, announcing the transfer from Jiang Xiaoyong. 100,000. He shoved the phone right up to his face, squinting to make sure he was seeing it right. When the number registered, he couldn't help but blurt out, 100,000. You really want to buy this much? For real? No way. Jiang Xiaoyong shot back without missing a beat. What's with all the questions? You think I've got nothing better to do than come here and pull your leg? That's the deposit. I want to buy 500,000 worth of goods. Get your guys to start loading the truck. You'll get the other 400,000 when it's all packed. Suddenly, Zhang Xingzhe let go of Jiang Xiaoyong's collar. His whole demeanor changed, becoming almost respectful. What kind of goods do you want? Like a wealthy patron, Jiang Xiaoyong stood with his arms crossed. He listed off his needs for Zhang Xingzhe. Rice, oil, drinks, and so on. Just grab anything that's easy to eat and drink. No need to be picky, but check everything. Zhang Xingzhe understood what Jiang Xiaoyong meant and replied. Follow me. A devious thought crossed the scammer's mind. I can't believe my luck. I just got a huge batch of nearly expired food, and now someone's here to take it all off my hands. With that, Zhang Xingzhe immediately led Jiang Xiaoyong and Yang Tao to the storage warehouse. The warehouse was enormous, and the amount of goods stored inside was staggering. The crafty Zhang Xingzhe started his sales pitch, hoping to get Jiang Xiaoyong to pay in full for the expiring stock. If you pay for all of it up front, I'll give you a 10% discount off the top. That's on top of the original wholesale price. What do you say? He knew this guy was no good, and his business practices were just as shady. Jiang Xiaoyong heard the offer, but didn't seem to care much. He walked over to some bags of rice and replied coolly. What do I say? That depends on the quality of your goods. Yang Tao and Zhang Xingzhe stood frozen, watching Jiang Xiaoyong's every move. He picked up a bag of rice. It seemed Jiang Xiaoyong had already spotted something wrong. He remained silent for a long moment, staring at it intently. Then, he held the bag up high for Zhang Xingzhe to see clearly. Jiang Xiaoyong exposed the man's little scheme. Except for the outer packaging, everything inside is about to expire. Jiang Xiaoyong shot a sharp glance at Zhang Xingzhe, not forgetting to add a little jab. Zhang Xingzhe, looks like your petty calculations were a little off. Hearing this, Zhang Xingzhe thought to himself, shit, I can't believe this kid actually knows his stuff. He then lowered his voice and said to Jiang Xiaoyong, look, if you take all this expiring food, I'll give you a 50% discount. How about that? He expected Jiang Xiaoyong to walk away from the deal, but instead, he made a new proposal. As for your expiring food, I have another arrangement in mind. Zhang Xingzhe was completely taken aback, his face a mask of confusion. He just stared blankly. An arrangement? What is it? Jiang Xiaoyong turned his head, his tone firm as he began to bargain. Based on the discount you just offered. 50% off. I'll take this entire stock of expiring food. But on one condition. Jiang Xiaoyong tightened his grip on the bag of white rice and delivered his final term. I'll pay you the full amount in 1 month. The truth was, he'd been struggling with this mountain of expiring goods for a long time. Hearing Jiang Xiaoyong agree to buy it all, even knowing its condition, Zhang Xingzhe was visibly overjoyed and quickly asked for confirmation. Really? You're serious? But if the goods are all expired by then and you don't pay me, what am I supposed to do? With a reassuring tone and complete composure, Jiang Xiaoyong replied, Don't worry. If I can't pay, the house is yours. Zhang Xingzhe, still wary, he pressed for more details. You still want this food, even though you know it's about to expire? Can you tell me what your sales channel is? Jiang Xiaoyong answered confidently. Sales channel? What sales channel? I'm a channel, all right? Jiang Xiaoyong clapped Zhang Xingzhe on the shoulder and leaned in, whispering the harsh reality of his situation. Haha, especially since we're talking about food that's about to expire. Even if it's close to its expiration date, in a few days, it'll just be garbage, won't it? Hitting a nerve, Zhang Xingzhe's face went pale as sweat beaded on his forehead. For someone as greedy as Zhang Xingzhe, this was a difficult deal to decide on. He answered nervously. What are you trying to say? He decided to press his advantage. Jiang Xiaoyong put on a rushed act. He pulled out his phone, checked the time, and said, There are some things you shouldn't ask. Just get these goods to me. I need them urgently. I already sent you the address. His phone rang, and Jiang Xiaoyong answered it. A man's voice came from the other end of the line. Is this Mr. Jiang? Jiang Xiaoyong asked, Who is this? The man continued. Are you the one selling the old house? He had just promised Zhang Xingzhe his house if he couldn't pay for the food. Jiang Xiaoyong's mind raced. He deliberately cut the caller off. I've got other business to attend to. As for the food, just do as I said. He gestured theatrically, putting on a show for the two men. It was a performance to convince them he had plenty of other suppliers lining up for his business. With that, Jiang Xiaoyong left alone. Yang Tao and Zhang Xingzhe remained in the warehouse, watching his retreating figure. Yang Tao sidled up nervously to Zhang Xingzhe. Brother, I didn't lie to you, did I? But Zhang Xingzhe couldn't help but wonder. Damn it, this kid is clearly from an ordinary family. How the hell did he strike it rich so fast? After leaving Zhang Xingzhe and his man, Jiang Xiaoyong went to meet another potential homebuyer. The man opened a bag, revealing thick stacks of cash. This time, Jiang Xiaoyong's client was an elderly man. He was dressed simply, his hair and beard streaked with gray. With a kindly look, he offered the bag of money to Jiang Xiaoyong and said earnestly, I can agree to your condition of moving out after 3 months. Here, let's sign the contract first. Facing the old man, Jiang Xiaoyong was momentarily speechless, his expression turning serious as he thought. This old guy didn't even look at the house properly, and he wants to sign the contract right away? He must be really desperate to buy my place. Unable to figure out the man's intentions, Jiang Xiaoyong quickly asked, Sir, do you really need the house that urgently? The old man, looking very gentle, met Jiang Xiaoyong's gaze and confessed honestly, Well, to be honest with you, my granddaughter is transferring to a new school, so we desperately need this house to get settled. I've looked around this area a few times, but yours is the only one for sale. Mister, please, you can't change your mind on me. The old man's pitiful expression and sincerity softened Jiang Xiaoyong. He chuckled lightly and asked, Sir, you're a little too honest. You probably shouldn't have told me all that right from the start. Aren't you afraid I'll raise the price on you? Hearing Jiang Xiaoyong mention raising the price, the old man realized his mistake. His face paled, and he hurriedly pleaded with him. Mr. Jiang, this money for the house, it's all the savings my granddaughter and I have. Please don't. Not wanting to worry him any further, Jiang Xiaoyong cut him off. Holding the sales contract, he reassured the old man. Don't worry. Sir, I won't back out. A moment later, Jiang Xiaoyong signed his name on the sales contract. With the signed contract in hand, the old man's expression brightened considerably. His earlier fear was completely gone. His eyes lit up, and he exclaimed with a wide, joyful grin, Haha, this is wonderful. Just wonderful. Once Jiang Xiaoyong had signed the contract, the old man didn't linger at his house for long. The old man arranged his things, slinging the bag back over his right shoulder. He then bowed deeply and respectfully to Jiang Xiaoyong before turning to leave. Mr. Jiang, you must be very busy, so I won't take up any more of your time. Standing before him, Jiang Xiaoyong replied softly. Right. As the old man turned to walk away, Jiang Xiaoyong, his expression grew serious as a thought crossed his mind. People at the bottom, so kind and simple. When the future comes, I'm afraid he and his granddaughter won't even survive the first month. The old man had only taken a few steps when Jiang Xiaoyong reached out and called to him. Ah, old man, wait a moment. Hearing the call, the old man turned back. Yes. What is it, sir? Jiang Xiaoyong asked. Your current address. Tell it to me. It was clear then that our hero intended to save the old man and his granddaughter when the great disaster struck. Perhaps he felt a pang of guilt for having taken money from such good, honest people. This was his way of settling the debt he felt he owed them. And so, one part of the house sale was settled. Jiang Xiaoyong turned his attention back to his plot of land. He made his way over to the construction site to check on the progress. The moment the contractor saw him, he rushed over to give Jiang Xiaoyong a warm welcome. He respectfully gestured for Jiang Xiaoyong to follow. The two walked together at a leisurely pace. The contractor chose his moment, sidling up to bring up the matter of payment. Boss Jiang, about this second deposit. Understanding exactly what the contractor was getting at, Jiang Xiaoyong didn't let him beat around the bush. He glanced around at the site and said, I'll transfer it to you later. So what's the construction progress? They reached the factory entrance as they spoke. The contractor pointed up toward the ceiling. We're 80% complete. Take a look. The walls, doors, ceiling, and everything else are absolutely solid. You can count on it. Jiang Xiaoyong looked up in the direction the contractor was pointing. Seeing that everything looked okay, he asked his next question. And the warehouse? The contractor enthusiastically explained. The warehouse was part of the original, unfinished structure. It's been completely cleaned out and is ready for use. Anytime. Jiang Xiaoyong praised him. Excellent. The contractor's face lit up with joy. He looked at Jiang Xiaoyong beaming. Meanwhile, Jiang Xiaoyong quickly pulled out his phone to call Zhang Xingxia. Zhang Xingxia, get the goods moving now. Just a few hours later, the factory warehouse was buzzing with activity. Workers were stocking goods onto shelves that stretched dozens of feet high. They all chatted excitedly amongst themselves. Easy does it. The boss is so generous. Someone cheered happily. 2 million for a small job like this. This guy's awesome. Another worker observed. This place looks like some kind of shelter. Someone else shot back. What do you know? Of course a job like this pays well. The rich will do anything to save their own skin. Jiang Xiaoyong held an inventory list, observing everyone at work. He directed the workers to place things exactly where he wanted them. He pointed to another area, speaking to a worker pushing a cart of green vegetables. The fresh produce, vegetables, and fruit need to be stored separately. Don't mix them up. The worker replied with a cheerful smile. You got it, boss. Don't you worry. It was a busy afternoon. They worked late into the night. The factory lights blazed. Once everything was finally in order, the exhausted crew left, still buzzing from the generous pay they'd received. Now, Jiang Xiaoyong was the only one left in the warehouse. He stood with his arms crossed, looking with pride at the fruits of his hard labor over the past few days. This was the first time since his rebirth that Jiang Xiaoyong had felt truly at ease. A smile spread across his face. He spoke aloud to the system with a triumphant air. Market complete. The system interface immediately appeared. Mission: 10 years of food and shelter. Complete. System points: plus 20. Current points: 20. After cashing in his points, Jiang Xiaoyong immediately opened the system shop. He looked a little surprised to see a new chest available. He couldn't help but marvel. Whoa, there's actually a new chest in the system. System shop. Physical enhancement potion. Plus 1. Minus 20 points. Level 1 apocalyptic farmer supply box. Minus 2 points. Level 1 power awakening supply box. Minus 10 points. Manual refresh. Minus 2 points. After looking over the system shop, Jiang Xiaoyong thought to himself, my luck is insane. To think I could get my hands on a power before the apocalypse even starts. And so, Jiang Xiaoyong chose the power awakening supply box. The system panel immediately pinged with a new notification. Exchange successful. Deducting 10 points. Points remaining, 10. As the point notification faded, a power card appeared on the panel. It was a card depicting a mysterious eye. The card read, Mind's Eye, Level 1. Effect. Allows user to detect hostility from others. He read the card's description. Jiang Xiaoyong broke into a wide grin. He exclaimed aloud, It can detect hostility. Haha. This has got to be one of the most useful abilities for the early days of the apocalypse. With the mission complete, the system issued Jiang Xiaoyong a new one. New mission. Armed to the teeth. Requirement. Equip yourself with weaponry. 0%. Mission reward. 10 points. +1 random reward. Ready for the next mission. Jiang Xiaoyong's face lit up with excitement. He tugged on his hood, tilting his head with a cryptic smile. Ha! Isn't this exactly what I was just thinking? The scene shifts to a black market at night. This market deals in rare and exotic goods. Most are unique, one-of-a-kind items. The majority of the wares are stolen and sold through back-alley dealers. People flock here to flip items for a quick buck. The market is packed tonight, a chaotic and vibrant scene. Jiang Xiaoyong left the warehouse on his new property to browse the stalls. The traders here are a rough-and-tumble crowd with no qualms about breaking the law, so Jiang Xiaoyong knew he had to be on his guard. The air around him buzzed with hushed and heated conversations. It was a cacophony of suspicion and haggling. Damn it, are you telling me this is real? I could tell you're a rookie just by the way you talk. Is it your real price, or are you messing with me? This piece of junk. A man nearby lowered his voice, his merchandise clearly illicit. Chill, keep your voice down. I just dug this thing out of Ma Wang Dao's tomb yesterday. Someone else cried out in amazement. Whoa, no way. Is that the skull of Emperor Qin Shi Huang as a kid? As he approached one of the stalls, Jiang Xiaoyong heard a very familiar voice. The person was in the middle of haggling. Come on, give me a better price. Just 3 million. The stall owner shot back. Are you kidding me? Nobody sells it that cheap. Jiang Xiaoyong was about to walk past when he glanced over at the source of the commotion. Sure enough, the voice belonged to none other than Li Shuxiong. He stood with his arms crossed, locked in a heated argument with the vendor. His face was beet red as he yelled, 200,000 for this high-grade ice jadeite bracelet? This is obviously a fake. If you sell it to me for 100,000, you'd still be making a hefty profit. So deal or no deal. If you're not selling, I'll take my business elsewhere. Seeing how worked up Li Shuxiong was, the vendor quickly, all right, fine. Just calm down. I'll sell it to you, okay? Overhearing their exchange, Jiang Xiaoyong thought to himself. So that bastard Li Shuxiong comes to the black market to buy cheap jade bracelets. So, he's just faking being rich to impress Cui Jing. He smirked. Ha! Oh, Cui Jing. You stupid, foolish girl. To think you'd fall for a loser like him. Thunk. A knife landed squarely on the table between two others. Each had a different design, but all of them were deadly weapons. The sound drew Jiang Xiaoyong's attention. Standing in the middle of the street, he spotted a knife stall on the sidewalk. A few passers-by glanced at the blades, but moved on without buying anything. A small smile crossed Jiang Xiaoyong's face. He'd found what he was looking for. Found it. He walked briskly over to the weapon stall. Jiang Xiaoyong picked up a knife that felt good in his hand and examined it. He looked up and asked the owner, Hey boss, you got anything in this shop that's really hard? The owner was a tall, tough-looking guy with the attitude of someone who'd rather be anywhere else. He gestured dismissively toward a whetstone on the ground. That's a sharpening stone. If you want something hard, buy that and grind it yourself. If you're that bored, go buy a stick to play with. Suddenly, Jiang Xiaoyong's expression soured. He scowled and said to the owner, Still not hard enough. I need something harder. Sensing the shift in Jiang Xiaoyong's tone, the hot-tempered owner got annoyed. His face tensed. His thick eyebrows knitted together as he shot back suspiciously. What's that supposed to mean? You here to cause trouble? But a surprise was in store for him. His phone pinged with a notification. Account credited 20 million. The owner stared at the notification, completely baffled. He had no idea who sent the money. It was, of course, Jiang Xiaoyong. Just a moment ago, he was putting on a dangerous act, but he had already scanned the QR code at the stall and sent the payment. Jiang Xiaoyong held up his phone, showing the successful transaction screen right in the owner's face, and said cheerfully, Hey, no need to get so worked up. This is just to show you I'm a serious buyer. The stall owner was left completely dumbfounded. He quickly turned to another man sitting nearby, engrossed in a game on his phone. He said urgently, Xiao Chong, watch the stall. The guy, lost in his game, hadn't even processed what was happening. It's amazing what a little money can do. The owner's attitude was now remarkably enthusiastic. He even started addressing Jiang Xiaoyong with respect. He gently and carefully guided him away. It's not convenient to talk out here. This way, please, sir. After a short walk, the owner led Jiang Xiaoyong to a house tucked deep inside a narrow alley. They went inside a room. The stall owner's face was beaming. He grinned so wide his eyes crinkled. All of them. He presented a box that contained a pistol. He said to Jiang Xiaoyong, "Sir, we have a homemade pistol here. It's got enough kick to kill a chicken, no problem. And the ammo is super cheap, too. All you need is some gunpowder and a few steel ball bearings. What do you think, sir?" Jiang Xiaoyong stood with his hands in his pockets, studying the gun for a moment. Then he replied coldly, "Not good enough." The owner realized he was dealing with a difficult customer. He fell silent, his face wrinkled in thought. Then, he presented another handgun. He said, "A replica revolver. Its performance is on par with a standard issue pistol. Price is 5 million. It fires 9mm rounds. As for the ammo, I'll sell it to you for 50,000 a pop. How's that sound?" Staring at the gun, Jiang Xiaoyong crossed his arms, his posture radiating menace. The shadows on his face made his eyes look like deep, bottomless pits. He replied, "It's passable, but I already paid you 20 million up front. Selling me something like this, isn't that a little inappropriate?" Since Jiang Xiaoyong had transferred 20 million, the owner was only showing him items within that price range. But what Jiang Xiaoyong wanted was a much more expensive weapon. Hearing this, the owner was completely taken aback. He stammered, confused. Paid? Paid up front for what? Jiang Xiaoyong's expression was dangerously grim. He looked the owner dead in the eye and said, "That was a 10% down payment. I want to spend 200 million on your weapons." Those words, combined with Jiang Xiaoyong's powerful aura, made the owner think he was dealing with some kind of crime lord. The man was scared out of his wits. Pointing at himself, he let out a nervous laugh and asked Jiang Xiaoyong, "Sir, my good sir, what exactly are you planning to do? For an order of this magnitude, why would a big shot like you come to me personally?" Having already committed to the role of a powerful boss, Jiang Xiaoyong had to see it through. He quickly came up with a lie to cover his tracks. He closed his eyes and said dismissively, "I don't normally bother with such trivial matters. My guys usually handle this sort of thing, but a lot has been happening lately. Look, don't ask so many questions. Just tell me if you can do it or not." The stall owner, looking like he'd just struck gold, hurried to the door, then turned back to Jiang Xiaoyong. "Wait here a moment." Jiang Xiaoyong heard him and waited in silence. The man locked all the doors to the room. He even locked the window. Hugging the wall, he peeked through a crack in the curtains, scanning the outside for anyone suspicious. Jiang Xiaoyong watched the man's every move. When it comes to high-value goods, this guy is a real professional. The stall owner's demeanor then turned much more cautious. He lowered his voice and spoke to Jiang Xiaoyong with a serious tone. "You came to the right person." He moved closer to Jiang Xiaoyong, leaning in a whisper in his ear. He cupped a hand over his mouth as he spoke softly. "I can get this done for you. Just write down a list. I'll give you an address in a bit. The day after tomorrow, at noon. Just drive there, and we'll complete the transaction." Jiang Xiaoyong was fully cooperative, listening intently to the stall owner's instructions. In the stall owner's eyes, Jiang Xiaoyong was a big shot. He saw Jiang Xiaoyong off with the utmost respect. The man walked ahead, carefully gesturing the way, and didn't forget to add a reminder. "Boss, please watch your step." Just as he stepped out of the room, a familiar voice called out, ringing through the air. Well, if it isn't Jiang Xiaoyong. Jiang Xiaoyong glanced over and immediately knew who it was. It was Li Shuxiong, who had just finished his own business at the market. He was just passing by on his way out when he happened to run into Jiang Xiaoyong. An amused, contemptuous look crossed his face as he spoke. "To think I'd actually run into you at the black market. Let me ask you something. How have you been so flush with cash lately?" He even brought up Cui Jing, his expression turning accusatory. "And how dare you just ignore Jingjing like that? Looks like you must have some family heirlooms left to sell, huh?" Even more outrageously, the man stepped closer, jutting his whiskered chin toward Jiang Xiaoyong as he continued. "So, I see you've been buying and selling a lot lately. Did you really have to give up and lie flat? Selling off everything you own just to coast through life?" This guy's arrogance and meddling were getting on Jiang Xiaoyong's nerves, but he remained silent, refusing to dignify him with a response. Just then, He remembered the new ability he'd just unlocked from the system. Jiang Xiaoyong smirked. Ah, that's right. Let's see what this new ability can do. Jiang Xiaoyong activated his ability, the Spirit Seeing Eye. One of his eyes suddenly ignited with a blue flame, causing his entire iris and pupil to glow. With that eye, Jiang Xiaoyong glanced back at the weapon stall owner. He could now perceive the emotions of those around him. Above the stall owner's head was a happy, green, smiley face, while a furious, purple, frowny face hovered over Li Shuxiong. Jiang Xiaoyong thought, so it really works. Only then did he finally respond to him. He pointed at the item Li Shuxiong had just bought and shot back a taunt of his own. That's right. So what if I did? By the way, who are you again? Oh, right. You're the one working with Cui Jing. Did she really fall for sleeping with you over this pile of fake, worn-out junk? Then again, it makes sense. After all, she's just my hand-me-down, right? I guess that's all she's worth. Exposed like that, the bastardly Shuxiong was furious. He clenched his fists, gripping the bag of goods tightly. His face twisted into a look that could kill. The emoji above his head shifted from purple to red, its intensity growing. In response, his body tensed up. He opened his mouth wide and screamed in Jiang Xiaoyong's face. What did you say? Seeing the situation escalate, the weapon stall owner approached Jiang Xiaoyong. Boss, is this an acquaintance of yours? Jiang Xiaoyong coldly turned his head away and replied, Humph, an acquaintance? More like an old enemy. Luckily for Jiang Xiaoyong, the stall owner was keen on taking care of his client. He had already summoned a group of big, burly underlings to protect him. He spoke softly to Jiang Xiaoyong. I understand, boss. If you're busy, you can go on ahead. I'll help you teach this guy a lesson. Jiang Xiaoyong quickly made his exit, but not without turning back to give one last instruction. Don't kill him. His life is mine to take. The four goons who'd been called over glared menacingly, just waiting for the order to pounce on Li Shuxiong. After Jiang Xiaoyong was completely gone, the stall owner led his four goons. As they slowly closed in on Li Shuxiong, they walked without a word, their faces menacing as they cracked their knuckles. One by one, their fists were clenched, ready for a fight. A terrified Li Shuxiong stumbled backward. All of his earlier aggression was gone. He took one hesitant step back after another, his empty threats completely swallowed by their— What do you think you're doing? I'm telling you. I can't. The stall owner flicked his wrist, and the short rod in his hand snapped out into a long steel whip. He gripped the whip tightly as he advanced on Li Shuxiong. The tough act was over. Li Shuxiong seemed to finally realize he stood no chance against these guys. He held up his hands, begging and stuttering. Why you? Oh no. Sir, we can talk about this. Just, let's talk. A second later, the big oaf dropped to the ground with a thud. He was flat on his stomach. He cried out, Wah! No one in the surrounding crowd stepped in to help him. They just gathered around to watch the humiliation. An hour later, Li Shuxiong's face and body were covered in shoe prints. He'd been beaten to a pulp. The pain was so bad, he had to crawl away. His face was a mask of pure resentment. He slammed a fist into the ground, seething, but only dared to curse under his breath. That damn Jiang Xiaoyong. Just you wait. 2 days later, at the workshop on Jiang Xiaoyong's newly purchased land, night had fallen. Jiang Xiaoyong stood before the open doors of a shipping container, the back of a large truck. He stared thoughtfully at the massive haul of goods inside. Suddenly, a system notification popped up. Mission, armed to the teeth, complete. Points. System reward, +10. Current points, 20. It seemed his black market deal for heavy firearms had gone through without a hitch. He looked at the rifles, AKs and long-range sniper models, piled high in front of him, along with countless boxes of ammunition. This is even better than I'd hoped. Just then, another notification appeared. Bonus reward received. Reward details. Physical enhancement serum, +2. He held up a syringe, the system's gift. Its glow illuminated half his face. Jiang Xiaoyong couldn't help but marvel at it. He spoke aloud. Whoa, I actually got a physical enhancement serum? He held the hand-sized syringe up to the light, a grin spreading across his face. And a +2 version at that. This is a way better deal than the one in the store. He rolled up his sleeve. Jiang Xiaoyong was resolute. Holding his left arm out, he raised the massive syringe in his right hand, ready to inject the serum. Time to get stronger. Arg. Jiang Xiaoyong gritted his teeth, enduring the agonizing pain as the power surged through him. His eyes blazed with an energy that seemed ready to burst out. His entire body tensed, fighting through the ordeal. A minute later, the serum had fully integrated, directly increasing his strength by 2 points. Jiang Xiaoyong clenched his fist, staring at his own hand. The average adult male has a physical strength of 5. Adding these 2 points means I've gotten a 40% power boost. If that's the case, then, after a moment of calculation, Jiang Xiaoyong summoned the system store. The interface displayed its wares. System all. +1 physical enhancement serum. -20 points. Apocalypse Farmer Supply Box. Level 1. -2 points. Manual Refresh. -2 points. Without hesitation, our Jiang Xiaoyong selected another physical enhancement serum. This time, he was absolutely determined. He gripped the new syringe tightly in his hand. With an advantage like this, I have to push my stats to the absolute limit. Once it was done, Jiang Xiaoyong's whole body was practically radiating with raw power. He stood there, muscles taut, enduring the massive influx of strength as he thought to himself. 8 points of physical strength. That makes me 60% stronger than a normal person. I need to find a target. Test this out. His eyes darted to the left, where several steel bars were propped against a wall. A smile lit up his face. Perfect. He quickly grabbed one of the steel bars. He stared at it, his focus absolute. Bracing himself, Jiang Xiaoyong unleashed a powerful kick right at the center of the steel bar. With a powerful shout, a mighty blow bent it completely out of shape. The steel bar flew straight into the wall, letting out a massive crash. What was even more shocking was that it was bent into a V shape, cracking a chunk out of the wall. Ha! Just as I thought. With my current strength, just using my bare hands, I'm already in a league of my own. Seeing his own overwhelming power, he confidently assessed his capabilities. Even if I have to face the zombies from the early days of the apocalypse, I won't be afraid in the slightest. Once the energy was fully absorbed by Jiang Xiaoyong, his body quickly returned to normal. Clenching his fist, Jiang Xiaoyong brought it up before his face and admired it. Then, looking at the pile of weapons in the large truck, he thought to himself, these weapons probably don't take up that much space. It would be safer to just store them in my spatial ring. He then held out the hand wearing the ring. Instantly, the crates filled with all sorts of weapons were sucked into the small ring on Jiang Xiaoyong's hand. In a flash, the entire truck was empty. Jiang Xiaoyong looked out with a pensive expression and continued to muse. The day after tomorrow, that's when the apocalypse begins. I need to think this through carefully. Is there anything else I need to do? The cataclysm was fast approaching, and Jiang Xiaoyong's preparations were more or less complete. He had a hideout far from the city, enough food for 10 years, a full arsenal of weapons, and upgraded combat strength. All that was left was to face the coming storm. But there was still one thing weighing on Jiang Xiaoyong's conscience. He had tricked a poor old man and his granddaughter into buying his house with their entire life savings. Remembering the old man's words, his face darkened, an unsettling feeling creeping over him. To be honest with you, young man, my granddaughter is transferring to a new school, and we desperately need this house to get settled. I've looked all around this area several times, but your place was the only one for sale. Mr. Jiang, you won't go back on your word, will you? The situation this kind old man was in truly made it hard for Jiang Xiaoyong to bear. He couldn't stand the thought of the old man and his poor granddaughter dying in the apocalypse, inside the very house they bought with their hard-earned savings. Jiang Xiaoyong clutched his head, feeling helpless as he muttered to himself. Even after surviving the apocalypse and dealing with all those treacherous people, I still can't completely ignore the suffering of innocent people. Then, Jiang Xiaoyong turned and walked away, already making a plan for the old man and his granddaughter. The hell with it. I'll just send them some essential supplies. Whether they can survive, and for how long in this world, that'll be up to them. Consider it my way of repaying them for funding my future. The very next morning, Jiang Xiaoyong drove to the old man's house. His sleek, black car parked near a rundown apartment complex that looked ready to collapse. Stepping out of the car, Jiang Xiaoyong looked up at the old building and sighed about the trip over. Good thing I had GPS. Otherwise, who could ever find a place like this? This building doesn't even have an elevator. Jiang Xiaoyong made his way up the stairs to the old man's apartment. After climbing so many flights, he concluded, looks like this old man really isn't well off. Not only is he renting in a cheap place like this, he's on the top floor. He finally reached the old man's apartment. Jiang Xiaoyong raised his hand to knock, but suddenly stopped. All the supplies were stored in the hidden space of his small ring. Jiang Xiaoyong quickly turned the ring. If I take the supplies out, right in front of the old man, things will get complicated. He thought carefully. No, that's wrong. It's better to take out the supplies first. Otherwise, it'll be a pain to explain later. The ring on his finger immediately let out a blinding light. A moment later, dozens of neatly stacked boxes appeared before him. Jiang Xiaoyong. Inside, the sound of knocking came from the door. Knock, knock, knock. The old man, who was busy with chores, hurried to open it. He called out, Coming. Just a moment. He thought it was the landlord coming to collect the rent. Before he even got a clear look at who it was, the old man started talking. About the rent, I'll definitely have it next week. Jiang Xiaoyong just stood there, having not said a word. When the old man finally focused his eyes, he realized it wasn't who he thought it was. His eyes widened in surprise. They grew wider and wider. He spoke hastily, a hint of caution in his voice. Wait, aren't you? Mr. Jiang? Opening the door wider, the old man was stunned by the sight of dozens of stacked boxes, completely blocking the hallway. He was utterly dumbfounded, unable to process what was happening. He asked, Mr. Jiang, you're here, and what's all this? He didn't explain right away. Jiang Xiaoyong carried a box inside before turning back to the old man. I'll explain in a minute, but first, help me get this stuff inside. We can't let the neighbors see any of this. The old man, still clutching the doorknob, looked utterly bewildered. A short while later, they had moved all the boxes into the house. Jiang Xiaoyong thoughtfully helped the old man stack them neatly. When they were finished, the old man leaned back, catching his breath, and remarked to Jiang Xiaoyong, You young folks really have boundless energy. You can carry so much at once without even needing a break. Feeling satisfied, Jiang Xiaoyong glanced around the apartment. He walked toward the door, then turned back and said, The apartment itself is still okay. And the door? I guess you could say it's sturdy enough. His gaze drifted to the window, and he decided it was time to tell the old man the truth. Grandpa, I need to tell you something, and you need to listen very carefully. The old man's eyes widened. He was completely baffled by Jiang Xiaoyong's strange behavior. Then he instructed him, These supplies, you need to plan out how you use them very carefully. There's enough here to last you half a year, no problem. Because starting tomorrow, this world is going to... He didn't get to finish his sentence. A photograph on the table caught his eye. Something about the framed picture made him freeze. Seeing him stop so abruptly, the old man asked with concern, What is it, Mr. Jiang? You could just put these things in your room. It's fine. After all, we're supposed to be moving in there in a month anyway. The photo that had stopped Jiang Xiaoyong in his tracks was of the old man and his granddaughter. And the girl looked exactly like the companion who had fought alongside him against the zombies when he established the safe zone. What a small world. Jiang Xiaoyong was stunned. Shan. He remembered his comrade, a spitting image of the old man's granddaughter. Identical down to the last detail. Jiang Xiaoyong picked up the photo to get a closer look. He asked the old man, Sir, is your granddaughter's name Meng Shan? The old man was completely taken aback. His jaw dropped as he asked, How could you possibly know that? I don't remember ever mentioning the name Shan. So it really is her. I can't believe this old man is Shan's grandfather. Jiang Xiaoyong's expression grew serious as he asked about her. Where is your granddaughter now? The old man answered honestly. She's still studying back in our hometown. She's waiting for you to move out of your apartment. Then we could transfer her to a school here. We've already gotten most of the paperwork done. In his past life, when Jiang Xiaoyong met Shan, they were both alone. No family. Left alive. He remembered that day, finding Shan sobbing amidst the rubble. She was whimpering, blaming herself. It's all my fault. I'm the one who got Grandpa killed. The memory filled Jiang Xiaoyong with sorrow. I remember her telling me, in our past life, that her grandfather risked everything charging into her zombie-infested high school to save her. Even though he managed to get her out, he lost his own life in there. Originally, Jiang Xiaoyong had only planned to give the grandfather and granddaughter enough supplies for 6 months. The rest would be up to them. But he never expected the girl to be his comrade from his past life. What's more, it was his mistake that led to his comrades' tragic deaths. Gently placing the photo back, Jiang Xiaoyong made a silent promise to Shan Shan. This time, I'll make up for all your regrets. Then, Jiang Xiaoyong turned to the old man, his eyes full of compassion. Grandpa my apartment. You won't be able to move in. Mr. Jiang, what are you trying to say? Mr. Jiang, you can't. Misunderstanding Jiang Xiaoyong's intentions. The old man feared he was backing out of the sale. He began to plead with him pitifully, placing a hand on the old man's shoulder. He tried to calm him down. Jiang Xiaoyong tried to explain the situation with the utmost seriousness. Please, just listen to me first. Starting tomorrow, this world is going to become a living hell. Whether it's my house or your granddaughter's schooling, none of that will matter anymore. The old man froze, completely speechless. His face was a mask of shock, unable to process whether he believed Jiang Xiaoyong's words or not. Jiang Xiaoyong quickly pressed on. We need to leave right now. We're going to San School to get her. I'll arrange a new place for you two to stay. But how could a normal person possibly believe that the world was going to end tomorrow? The old man was completely bewildered. He furrowed his brow, asking Jiang Xiaoyong in confusion. Jiang, Mr. Jiang, what are you talking about? I don't understand a single word you're saying. Jiang Xiaoyong was even more flustered than the old man. He knew a great catastrophe was imminent, but he had no way to make the old man understand. Jiang Xiaoyong thought helplessly. He's already so old. There are so many things he won't understand. How am I supposed to explain this to him? With that, Jiang Xiaoyong began to twist the ring on his middle finger, trying to explain things in the simplest way possible. He asked gently, Sir, do you know what a famine is? Hearing this, the old man replied, Yes, I do. His gaze still on the ring, he continued, Then you can imagine how miserable and terrifying it was for people during those years of starvation, right? The old man grew more tense, and he answered hesitantly, Yes, I can imagine, but we're living in an era of peace and prosperity. How could famine possibly happen? And even if it did, it wouldn't be. Before the old man could finish his sentence, Jiang Xiaoyong pointed his ringed hand toward the center of the room. Instantly, every object in the room distorted and was pulled into the space within the ring. Witnessing this incredible sight, the poor old man was utterly astounded. His eyes and mouth fell open, a giant question mark forming in his mind. In just a few seconds, everything in the house had been sucked into the ring. Dust swirled at the feet of Jiang Xiaoyong and the old man. The scene left the old man so stunned he could barely stand. His knees buckled slightly as he spun around, looking everywhere. He cried out in fear. Wah! Where did everything go? It's all gone. Mr. Jiang, what kind of magic is this? Only by showing him something so bizarre could an ordinary person be made to believe Jiang Xiaoyong's words. He held out his hand, the purple ring still glowing, as a brilliant blue aura radiated from his body. With a deadly serious look in his eyes, Jiang Xiaoyong explained, I have superpowers, and I can see the future. If you want to live, if you want San to live, then from now on, you will do exactly as I say. Then his face grim, he asked, Where is San School? A short while later, Jiang Xiaoyong's sleek black car was parked in front of San School. The old man was with him. It seemed that after that display of magic, Jiang Xiaoyong had made a true believer out of him. He couldn't stop staring at Jiang Xiaoyong, still in a daze. The car sped straight into the schoolyard. Jiang Xiaoyong and the old man quickly got out. He frantically asked the old man, What grade is San in? Where's her dorm? Do you know? The old man quickly replied, Yes, I know. Jiang Xiaoyong said, Good. We have to hurry. The scene shifts to San. She appears to be in trouble with some delinquents. She was being cornered by a group of them. 2 girls in skirts blocked her path, backed up by 3 boys holding baseball bats. The confrontation had just begun. One of the girls was dressed provocatively, wearing clothes and makeup, far too mature for her age. She had a fierce, vicious look about her. Without hesitation, she slapped San hard across the face. The force of the blow sent the smaller girl stumbling sideways. Then the delinquent girl scowled and shouted, You bitch! I just don't get it. What's so great about you? That makes Zhang Xiaoshan like you so much. San had a personality just like her grandfather's. She was extremely gentle and timid. Her cheek was already red and swelling, but she still tried to whisper an explanation. I already told you. I have nothing to do with him. It's just a one-sided crush on his part. San raised a hand to shield her face. A weak, futile gesture of resistance. The words were barely out of her mouth when the other girl rushed forward, kicking San hard in the stomach. This one was even more vicious, her movements brutal as she screamed. Still playing innocent? Poor San took another kick, clutching her stomach in pain. As she crumpled to the ground, the girl in the black shirt stalked closer, yanking her up by the hair. Her eyes were wide with fury. The angrier she got, the harder she pulled on San's hair. She twisted San's words back at her. What's that supposed to mean? You're saying Zhang Shaoxin is the one chasing you? And you couldn't even be bothered? San cried out in pain, grabbing at her head. As she was struggling, with the two girls who were confronting the other woman, an old man's voice boomed. Hey you, what do you think you're doing to my granddaughter? The shout drew the attention of the two girls, who turned to glare in the direction of the voice. The sun was setting as the old man and Jiang Xiaoyong finally found San. Seeing the situation, they both broke into a run. The girl with the high bun looked at the old man, then back at San in surprise. Isn't that your useless old geezer of a grandfather? Grandpa should be at home making dinner right now. San was just as confused. Grandpa, why are you here? The old man pointed a finger at the two girls, his voice booming with rage. What do you think you're doing? Let San go now. Jiang Xiaoyong stood behind him, his own face a mask of cold fury. The three male students who were acting as the girls' backup finally stepped forward. The blonde one casually flicked open a knife, holding it threateningly. The two behind him looked menacing, their faces set in arrogance. This guy looked old enough to have been held back a few years, his face more weathered than a tree trunk. He glared at the old man, a smug smirk on his face as he warned him. Back off. This is young people's business. What's an old man like you sticking his nose in for? The old man was furious. He couldn't control himself seeing his granddaughter bullied like this. Mustering all his strength, he lunged forward and shoved the blonde student hard. But there were three of them. The one on the left, holding a baseball bat, made his move. He swung the bat high, aiming for the old man's head. He put all his strength into it, using both hands. In that moment, the boy's humanity seemed to vanish as he spat out a final, cruel threat. You old bastard, let go of him. Just as the bat was about to connect with the old man's neck, a hand shot out and stopped it cold. It was Jiang Xiaoyong. He gripped the student's hands tightly, his fingers like a vice. Jiang Xiaoyong looked impossibly cool as he fixed the group of punks with a stern gaze. You're just kids. Shouldn't you be studying? Instead, you're learning how to be gangsters? Seeing their friends' attack blocked, the other two boys just laughed mockingly. Jiang Xiaoyong? Where'd this poor bastard come from? The blonde student, the leader, looked confused. About Jiang Xiaoyong. That bitch. I never heard she had an older brother. The student with the bat stubbornly refused to let go, still struggling against his grip. Annoyed, Jiang Xiaoyong sent a powerful kick straight into his chest, launching him through the air. He landed hard on his back. The rough ground of the schoolyard must have scraped him up badly. Seeing Jiang Xiaoyong's power, the other two started to get nervous. They gritted their teeth, their faces filled with anxiety as they faced him. The one with the crew cut swore under his breath. Damn it! He's a fighter, Brother Chi. The blonde student, though clearly scared, still tried to act tough. Let's get him together. Jiang Xiaoyong gave them a sideways glance. To him, these two were just a couple of chickens. One held a knife. The other held a bat, one in front of Jiang Xiaoyong and one behind. But both of them hesitated, neither daring to make the first move. Jiang Xiaoyong didn't move either, just watching. After a moment, the student with the crew cut decided to risk it. He charged ferociously from behind, swinging the bat at the back of Jiang Xiaoyong's neck. But it wasn't that easy. With a mere flick of his eyes, Xiaoyong knew exactly what the guy behind him was planning. His reaction was lightning fast. He dropped into a crouch, successfully dodging the deadly blow. The student had put all his weight into the swing, but it was a complete miss. For Jiang Xiaoyong, whose physical speed had been enhanced, dodging an attack from a normal person was as easy as walking. As he dodged, Jiang Xiaoyong marveled to himself. After my body was enhanced, my reflexes got a lot faster too. Before the student knew what was happening, Jiang Xiaoyong had grabbed the collar of his shirt, startling him. He froze. In one fluid motion, Jiang Xiaoyong executed a perfect judo throw, flipping the student over his shoulder and slamming him face first into the ground. In his fighting stance, Jiang Xiaoyong looked both handsome and ruthless. The student who took the hit was completely stunned. His eyes rolled back into his head. 2 troublemakers down. 1 more to go. The blonde-haired student, lunged at Jiang Xiaoyong with a dagger. So stubborn, even in a situation like this. With just a backward glance, Jiang Xiaoyong instantly closed the distance, grabbing the ringleader by the sleeve. The guy could only stare in wide-eyed shock. He prepared for a powerful kick. Jiang Xiaoyong drew his knee back, gathering power. He slammed his foot into the punk's kneecap like he was kicking a soccer ball. The force of Jiang Xiaoyong's kick was so strong the student flew backward, before his head hit the ground with a sickening thud. For someone with Jiang Xiaoyong's strength, dealing with a few small fry like the... In an instant, all 3 were sprawled at Jiang Xiaoyong's feet. Dust swirled around his shoes. The first problem was solved. Next on the chopping block were the 2 girls who had been tormenting San. Jiang Xiaoyong was silent. Without a word, he strode toward the 2 smug girls. The girl with the high bun sensed something was wrong. She stammered. "You, what do you want?" First, Jiang Xiaoyong delivered a swift slap across the girl's face. Her pretty face was now red and contorted from the impact, stung by the brutal hit. The girl froze for a few seconds. Her eyes went wide, as if she couldn't believe someone had actually laid a hand on her. Second, Jiang Xiaoyong grabbed the hair of the girl who had just been pulling San's. He gripped it tightly, his voice low and menacing as he spoke to her. "So, you like grabbing people by the hair, huh?" The girl thrashed, yanking against Jiang Xiaoyong's grip. She shrieked, "Let me go." He had no intention of going easy on people like this. Jiang Xiaoyong's face was a mask of cold fury. His hand moved, pressing the dagger against her throat. Seeing Jiang Xiaoyong pull out a weapon, the girl started to panic. Losing all composure, she screamed through her tears. "A knife? What are you doing?" His demeanor was as cold and decisive as ever. Jiang Xiaoyong made a clean slice. A loud scream tore through the air. Down below, near the long-haired girl's feet. San and the other bully watched as Jiang Xiaoyong, the girl with the bun, was so horrified she could barely stand. As for San, she was too scared to look, covering her face with her hands. The long-haired girl's knees buckled, and she collapsed onto the schoolyard pavement. The terrified girl crumpled to the ground. Her hand flew to her head. She couldn't believe it. The long hair she had spent so much time caring for was gone, severed by Jiang Xiaoyong in a single moment. She screamed, "My hair!" She flew into a rage. Her mouth opened in a terrifying snarl as she glared and shrieked at Jiang Xiaoyong. "You bastard! How dare you cut my hair? You son of a bitch! I'll make you pay for this!" Looming over her, Jiang Xiaoyong showed her nothing but an icy expression. He let the strands of her hair drift slowly to the ground in front of her. Before he spoke, "Long hair is just a burden to you." The girl shot back at Jiang Xiaoyong, her retort dripping with venom. "What did you say?" Then, Jiang Xiaoyong turned to leave. He glanced back over his shoulder to give the girl one last warning. "In a few days, that haircut is going to save your life." The 2 defiant girls could only watch him leave, their faces etched with humiliation and bitter resentment. Meanwhile, the old man stayed close to his granddaughter, San. The little girl clasped her hands together, staring at her savior, Jiang Xiaoyong, with a look of pure admiration. Then, Jiang Xiaoyong called out her name, his tone as warm and familiar as a family member's. San, let's go." Startled, the little girl asked, "Go? Go where?" A moment later, Jiang Xiaoyong's black car was driving down a main road with the old man and his granddaughter. It seemed Jiang Xiaoyong had successfully brought them both back to the base he had spent the last month building. San's surprised voice echoed inside the car. "Aren't we going back to class?" It was only now that the old man had a chance to explain things to his young granddaughter. He repeated what he understood from Jiang Xiaoyong's words. "A famine is coming. What's the point of school now? We'll be lucky just to stay alive." 1 minute she was at school like normal, and the next her grandpa was telling her they had to go into hiding because of a coming famine. How could San possibly believe it? The little girl tugged at the old man's sleeve, completely bewildered, and asked again, "What do you mean a great famine?" Her confusion turned to a frown as she began to chide her grandfather. Grandpa, I've told you so many times. Stop falling for these phone scams." Worried her grandpa had been scammed again, Shan pressed him. Just tell me, how much money did they get from you this time? The old man tried his best to explain. What scam? What I'm telling you is the truth. But Shan Shan was adamant. That's what you always say every time you get scammed. Watching the grandfather and granddaughter bickering in the rearview mirror, Jiang Xiaoyong silently made another promise to her. Shan Shan, I swear I'll protect you in this life. As he drove, Jiang Xiaoyong turned to Shan Shan to clear things up. Your grandfather wasn't scammed this time. That news about a famine, I'm the one who told him. Hearing the story come straight from Jiang Xiaoyong's mouth, Shan Shan's eyes widened as she stared at him in confusion. Finally taking a good look at the man who'd been driving them all this time, Shan Shan stammered. You? Who are you? The car sped up, merging onto the highway. Inside the car, Jiang Xiaoyong answered her question. My name is Jiang Xiaoyong. From now on, you can just call me Brother Xiaoyong. Shan Shan quickly replied. Oh, Brother Xiaoyong, thank you for teaching those guys a lesson for me. He then assured Shan Shan. Don't worry about them. They probably won't be alive for more than a few days anyway. Suddenly hearing that her bullies might die, Shan Shan was completely taken aback and asked Jiang Xiaoyong in confusion. What do you mean by that? Is there really a famine? Focusing on the road, Jiang Xiaoyong stared straight ahead and continued calmly. The famine was just something I made up so your grandfather could understand more easily. Shan Shan froze for a moment. Oh, she replied hesitantly. I knew it. In an age of peace like this, how could there possibly be a famine? Jiang Xiaoyong continued with the same calm expression. The truth is, the apocalypse is about to begin. Hearing this, Shan Shan was utterly stunned. Her eyes flew open, wider than before, as she exclaimed, The apocalypse? Jiang Xiaoyong's gaze grew heavy, his voice dropping low as he spoke. The time is almost here. If you turn on your phone and look at short videos or the news, you might see some clues. Believing Jiang Xiaoyong, Shan Shan immediately pulled out her phone and opened a news channel to check. Right away, Shan Shan gasped. Is this for real? The news report on the phone announced. A sword born from the grievances of the martial world, like moonlight shining as the west wind blows the fallen leaves. This is the first time in my life I've ever seen a rabies patient bite someone. On the screen, Shan Shan saw a person with pale, bluish skin, drooling uncontrollably, being restrained by 2 police officers. At this point, the media and the public still believe this was just a case of rabies. She swiped to another story, which was also related to the impending doom. More fog. I don't know if it's just me, but this fog seems to have a really strange smell. Shan Shan's hand recoiled instinctively. She scrolled to another video, recorded by a civilian. In it, someone was screaming. Damn it. Are you crazy? Why the hell are you biting me? Are you a dog? Another victim was struggling to speak. What? I don't know. Why I can't control it. My whole body feels terrible. Please, take me to a hospital. Holding the phone closer to get a better look, Shan Shan couldn't help but feel a growing unease. Her pupils dilated as if she were in a trance. Since Jiang Xiaoyong was all too familiar with these scenes, he calmly assessed the situation. Just as I thought. The signs of the apocalypse are already appearing. Shan Shan, sitting in the back, was terrified. She looked up from her phone and asked Jiang Xiaoyong with a trembling voice, Is the apocalypse really happening? The car carrying the 3 of them continued steadily down the road. Inside, Jiang Xiaoyong began to lay out the situation for Shan Shan and the old man. Tomorrow is the first day of the end. A toxic fog will cover several provinces. Province B will be one of them. The sky was beginning to darken. Jiang Xiaoyong switched on the headlights. He continued, This mysterious, poisonous fog will affect all living things. He began to lay out the grim reality of their situation. Gradually, a significant number of people will transform into zombies, and they'll start eating other people. There's no immunity. Once you die, you become one of them. As they drove on, Xiaoyong slowed the car. His expression turned serious again as he stared ahead. You're just a kid. Do you even know what a zombie is? Leaning forward from the back seat, close to Xiaoyong, Shan Shan replied with pure innocence. Yeah, I know. It's just, this is all so hard to believe. Up ahead, the highway was completely gridlocked with cars. They were lined up for miles, bumper to bumper. Inside the car, Jiang Xiaoyong added, Wait until tomorrow, or the day after, or next week. All of this is going to be our reality. It won't seem so strange then. Jiang Xiaoyong stuck his head out the window. He scowled, gritting his teeth in frustration. TCH. On top of everything else, we're stuck in a massive traffic jam. The regular lanes are packed, and so is the emergency lane. The air filled with the sound of blaring horns. Jiang Xiaoyong pieced it together, just as I thought. The emergency lane must be blocked up ahead, too. The old man, riddled with fear and anxiety, asked Jiang Xiaoyong. Mr. Jiang, we're trapped here. What if those zombies you were talking about catch up to us? Jiang Xiaoyong inched his black car closer to the white one in front, honking his horn. Uncle He, don't worry. It's not that critical yet. Outwardly, Jiang Xiaoyong forced himself to stay calm so the others wouldn't panic. But inside, he was on edge. Damn it. Even though the zombies won't go completely out of control for at least a few more days, if a small-scale outbreak happens here, we're screwed. The three of them, Jiang Xiaoyong, the old man, and his granddaughter, could only wait for the gridlock to ease. Suddenly, from the next lane, an expensive Mercedes shot forward. The car swerved abruptly, trying to cut in right in front of Xiaoyong. It happened in a flash. Xiaoyong slammed on the brakes to avoid a collision, the force throwing all three of them forward. Jiang Xiaoyong's face contorted with rage. He gritted his teeth, his eyes blazing. He roared, "Son of a bitch! What the hell is wrong with you?" Cutting in from the emergency lane without a damn signal. Furious, Xiaoyong wrenched the steering wheel. His car surged forward, closing the gap with the white car ahead. He had successfully blocked the black Mercedes from squeezing in. But the driver of the Mercedes refused to back down. He kept trying to edge his car in, forcing Jiang Xiaoyong to hold his ground and block him. Already in a rush, and now this psycho. Xiaoyong glared. He yelled at the car to his right. "Asshole, you still not done? You're really going to keep this up?" Neither driver was willing to give an inch. Every time the Mercedes tried to nudge forward, Xiaoyong's car moved up to match it. They were almost touching. Finally, the owner of the Mercedes rolled down his window. He opened his mouth and unleashed a torrent of insults, mostly directed at Jiang Xiaoyong's mother. Jiang Xiaoyong let the man's words wash over him. He couldn't care less. In the back seat, the old man, being the cautious type, wanted to avoid any trouble. He leaned forward and pleaded with Xiaoyong. "Mr. Jiang, that guy, he looks like he's got money. It's better to just let it go. We don't need to make more problems for ourselves." But now, Jiang Xiaoyong had money. He had a home, and with the end of the world just around the corner, he wasn't afraid of anyone. Staring straight ahead, Xiaoyong replied grimly, "Don't you worry. If he gets out of that car looking for trouble, I'll have no problem sending him on his way ahead of schedule." It seemed like the confrontation was over. Jiang Xiaoyong's car was finally moving freely down the highway. He let out a sigh of relief. Finally, we're out of that mess. Can't believe that traffic jam lasted a whole hour. Glancing at the rearview mirror, Shan saw a car racing up behind them and shouted a warning. "Jiang Xiaoyong, look out. It's that car from before, the one that tried to cut us off." Just as he finished speaking, the expensive black Benz had already caught up to their car. It flicked on, both its high beams and its blaring horn. Here comes trouble again. Jiang Xiaoyong glanced over, his voice sharp with anger. Damn it. This guy just won't quit. The expensive car sped up with blinding speed. It swerved hard, cutting off Jiang Xiaoyong and nearly sending their car into a spin. The arrogant rich prick successfully blocked Jiang Xiaoyong's path. Inside, the three of them were thrown about by the sudden stop. Shan was slammed back against her seat, wincing in pain. The old man, fearing trouble, quickly tried to calm Jiang Xiaoyong down. "Mr. Jiang, just stay calm. Don't slam on the brakes and get out to do something reckless. You'll just bring disaster upon yourself." Jiang Xiaoyong was jolted repeatedly in the driver's seat. He glared ahead, his eyes burning with fury. There's a limit to a man's patience. And this is the last straw. Jiang Xiaoyong finally answered the old man. "If this were before, I would have just let it go. But tomorrow is the end of the world. I don't have to put up with this kind of scum anymore." He slammed his foot on the gas pedal. Jiang Xiaoyong steered the car straight into the Benz parked in front of them. The force of the impact sent the other car flying to the side of the road. The massive vehicle skidded with a loud screech that echoed down the entire street. Long, black tire marks were seared onto the pavement where the rich man's car had been. It was probably wrecked. He stumbled out of the car, clutching his head in pain. He was still cursing up a storm. "Son of a bitch. You goddamn bastard." It turned out this man was someone with power and influence, which explained why he acted like he owned the road respecting no one. He immediately pulled out his phone and called the regional traffic police department. He yelled into the phone, barking out an urgent command. "Hello. Get the traffic camera surveillance team on the line right now and find me this license plate." By now, Jiang Xiaoyong's car was long gone, just a tiny box in the distance. The man stood there, stunned, watching the faint silhouette of Jiang Xiaoyong's car disappear. He snarled into the phone. "I'm going to make him understand that I'm not someone you can just mess with." After escaping the trouble on the road, Jiang Xiaoyong finally got Shan Shan and the old man to The car slowed down and stopped right at the main gate. All three of them got out. The moment the old man stepped out, his head tilted back, his gaze fixed upward. His eyes were wide with astonishment as he marveled at the base. Shan Shan also looked around, amazed, as it was her first time setting foot in such a vast place. The three of them seemed tiny, standing on the grounds of the industrial complex. Shan Shan couldn't help but exclaim, "Whoa, this is incredible." Jiang Xiaoyong, who was walking ahead, turned back to them. "You and Shan Shan should get some sleep. Starting tomorrow, things are going to get a lot harder." Hearing his words, a sense of unease about what was to come washed over both of their faces. The next morning, Jiang Xiaoyong stood before a large glass window inside the house, calmly enjoying the morning view. He was nursing a cup of hot coffee. Shan Shan had just woken up. She stretched her arms high with a long yawn. She spoke as she loosened her muscles. "It's been so long since I've slept this much. It feels so good not having to go to school in the morning." Hearing this, Jiang Xiaoyong just smiled gently as he turned to look at her. Bathed in the morning sun, Jiang Xiaoyong spun around, waving her over with a friendly smile. "You're awake? Come on, let's go explore this fortress of ours." And so, Jiang Xiaoyong led the old man and Shan Shan on a tour of the entire facility. Jiang Xiaoyong walked in front, with the old man and Shan Shan following close behind. He brought them to a large room with a modern lighting system overhead. Since it was brand new, the place looked impressive, but it was completely empty inside. Jiang Xiaoyong began to explain. The remote control gate is made of solid steel, 3 centimeters thick. Neither humans nor zombies can break through it. Without the help of heavy weaponry. Jiang Xiaoyong turned to Shan Shan, his tone serious and cautionary. "Remember this. Without my permission, besides the 3 of us, no one else is allowed to enter this fortress." Shan Shan looked tense as Jiang Xiaoyong laid down the rules with such gravity. She lowered her head slightly, looking at him with hesitation. He called out to her, "Follow me." Jiang Xiaoyong had built an observation tower connected to the main house by a large overpass. He was leading Shan Shan and her grandfather there now, continuing his instructions as they walked. In the coming apocalypse, people's hearts will be hard to read. The 3 of them were now walking across the overpass. The bridge was nearly as wide as a road. The sheer scale of his investment was truly impressive. Jiang Xiaoyong continued, "The darkest parts of human nature will be magnified many times over. Kindness will only get us killed." From their high vantage point, the old man and Shan Shan looked down, utterly speechless at the sight before them. The scene unfolded below. It was a large compound, completely enclosed by a barbed wire fence. Inside were long shipping containers and a 2-story building. Jiang Xiaoyong continued to explain. "While I'm not around, and other survivors show up asking for help, this area can serve as a temporary shelter for them. But under no circumstances are you to let them inside the main fortress until I get back." "Got it," Shan Shan quickly replied. "I understand." With that, Jiang Xiaoyong led them to the supply warehouse. He slipped his hands into his pockets and continued speaking as they walked. "I'm taking you to the supply warehouse. I need you and your grandfather to know where everything is and which supplies can be given out as aid. I'll show you." A few minutes later, the 3 of them arrived at the warehouse. The place was so massive that it dwarfed them, a testament to its incredible storage capacity. After the tour, Jiang Xiaoyong turned to them. And one last thing. He activated his psychic eye. A blue flame blazed in his eye. As he focused, he could see the emotions of the old man and Shan Shan. Blue, happy, smiley faces hovered over them, even as they stared back at him in confusion, waiting for him to speak. Jiang Xiaoyong thought, so this is what trust looks like. It's the first time I've ever seen this. Jiang Xiaoyong held his ring out towards the floor. The ring flashed, and a wooden crate materialized before them. He said, Weapons are crucial for survival in this world. Shan Shan and her grandfather stared, not daring to blink. They each quickly picked a weapon that suited them. Shan Shan took a crossbow, and the old man a sniper rifle. Their jaws dropped, completely speechless. Jiang Xiaoyong continued his instructions. Thoroughly. You must always maintain control of these weapons. Never, ever let them fall into someone else's hands. Despite his age, the old man understood his duty. He answered Jiang Xiaoyong with a look of firm resolve. You can. Count on it. Just as Jiang Xiaoyong finished his instructions, a system notification suddenly appeared. System mission. Rendezvous with Meng Shan Shan. Former partner quest chain activated. New mission. Former partner LV. 1. Mission objective. Find and rescue your partner. From your past life. Zhang Qi. Reward. 20 points. His eyes widened. This was exactly what he'd been hoping for. Yes. Outside the large glass doors, a blue arrow materialized, a system guide pointing the way. The old man and Shan Shan watched as Jiang Xiaoyong stood lost in thought. He thought, this is perfect. I was just wondering how I was going to find my old comrades. A chance to find an old friend and earn points at the same time? Jiang Xiaoyong didn't hesitate for a second and took off running. He glanced back at a bewildered Shan Shan and shouted a reminder. Remember everything I told you, and don't break any of the rules. He scrambled into the driver's seat. From inside the car, Jiang Xiaoyong yelled, I'm going to recruit some new members. It's time to expand our squad. With that, he floored it, following the arrow straight out the gate. Meanwhile, at one of the city's most popular hostess karaoke bars, it was late afternoon, and the sky was beginning to darken. Inside, a crowd was singing and partying. Among them was Zhang Qi, Jiang Xiaoyong's old comrade. They were completely oblivious to the zombies and the spreading plague. Zhang Qi, fresh from a song, had his arm around a friend in a button-down shirt. The two stumbled out of the karaoke room together. Someone called out to them. Where are you two off to? His friend leaned against the doorframe for support and slurred a joke back. Gonna go recycle my dinner. The guys in the room hollered back. Yeah, take your time. Don't be shy. Zhang Qi was so drunk his head was spinning, and while he didn't quite catch the joke, he played along. Hey, give me a doggy bag. From inside the men's room came the distinct sounds of two guys groaning with relief as they finally let loose. Ah shit. My piss is all foam. My kidneys must be giving out. Followed by a shout. Get the hell away. Once they were done, they threw their arms around each other and cheerfully stumbled back to the party. Just then, Zhang Qi bumped into a beautiful woman on the arm of the woman cried out in alarm. She let out a sharp gasp, her face twisting in disgust. Zhang Yi quickly raised his hands to placate them, rushing to apologize. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. But a mere accidental touch was enough to set them off, and they glared daggers at Zhang Yi. Using it as an excuse, the boyfriend lunged forward and slammed a powerful kick into Zhang Yi's gut. The blow sent Zhang Yi flying. The man's eyes narrowed as he sneered. You filthy piece of shit. Are you fucking blind? The brutal kick landed with a sickening thud. Zhang Yi crashed hard into the corner of the wall. His back hit the hard surface with a loud crack. He cried out, unable to bear the searing pain. His chubby, collared shirt-wearing friend rushed over to him. Hey, are you okay, Zhang Yi? Still drunk and reeling from the blow. Zhang Yi grimaced, too winded to speak, and tried to regain his composure, seeing how completely unreasonable the guy was. The friend in the collared shirt spun around and yelled back at him. What the hell is your problem? Why would you just attack someone like that? The boyfriend stood there shamelessly, hands stuffed in his pockets, smirking down at Zhang Yi on the floor. His gaze shifted from Zhang Yi to his chubby friend. He cracked his knuckles and ground his teeth, his voice a low threat. Son of a bitch. This is the first time anyone's had the balls to talk back to me. Worse, the boyfriend was tall and strong. He grabbed the chubby friend by the collar with both hands and lifted him up effortlessly. The friend flailed in confusion, his legs kicking uselessly as he managed to choke out a few words. WH, what do you think you're doing? The girlfriend leaned against the wall, watching the scene unfold with a smug, satisfied smile. Zhang Yi didn't want to make things worse. He staggered back to his feet and quickly pleaded with the aggressor. Hey man, it was our fault, okay? Please don't do this. Just let it go. The scene was getting heated and chaotic. Nearby, a man let out a long, loud sniffle. Sniff! It was one of the waiters. He was trying to take a quick break when the commotion caught his attention. He glanced over, thinking to himself, damn it, first a stomachache and now a cold. Huh, are people starting another fight? Can't I get a single moment of peace around here? The waiter quickly ran over to intervene. Sir, please, let's not cause any trouble. But the boyfriend seemed to have lost all reason. He grabbed the waiter by the collar, too. His eyes bulged as he roared in the man's face. Who the hell are you? Take a good look at this face. Do you have any idea who I am? Even your boss wouldn't dare lay a finger on me. Talk about dedication to your job. The waiter, a true professional, subtly waved his hand behind his back, signaling for Zhang Yi and his friend to get away. He even mouthed the words silently. Asterisk, you two go. Now, asterisk, my deepest apologies for this. The boyfriend was still fuming. He shifted all his anger onto the waiter, tightening his grip and shouting in a thuggish voice. Get your boss out here. Now, son of a bitch, you made me lose face. I've had it with this shitty service. This employee of yours is useless. No one noticed when Zhang Yi and his friend made their escape. The poor waiter was left in the worst spot. Choking in the thug's grip, he still had to plead with the arrogant man. Please, sir, calm down. Please calm down. After running for their lives, the two of them finally made it back to room 3090. They burst into the room, panting heavily. Inside, their friends were still casually singing, completely unaware. Zhang Yi collapsed onto a sofa while his chubby friend leaned over, hands on his knees, both of them gasping for air. Seeing this, one of their friends asked in confusion, You two look like you just saw a ghost. What happened? Catching his breath, the chubby friend turned to explain. Not a ghost. We were just coming out of the bathroom and accidentally bumped into some drunk psycho. He was about to beat the crap out of me and Zhang Yi. Luckily, a waiter created a diversion for us. If it weren't for him, we would have gotten our asses kicked. The friend holding the microphone shot to his feet, furious. He roared, outraged on their behalf. What the hell? Since when do we from Mechanical Division 3 have to take shit like that? Wait, let me make a call. I'll get all my boys down here. You think we can't take care of him then? Hearing his friend's tough talk, the man in the white shirt flinched. He froze. Zhang Ji, ever the peacemaker, tried to de-escalate. He tried to calm everyone down. Zhang Ji waved his hand dismissively and said, All right, let's just drop it. I'm graduating in less than a year. Let's not cause any more trouble. Come on, let's just get back to singing and dancing. A moment later, the door to Zhang Ji's karaoke room was kicked open by a leather-shoed foot. The door flew wide open with a single, powerful kick. He dragged in a staff member whose face was beaten to a pulp. Behind him followed several scowling thugs and the woman from before. The 4 members of Mechanical Team 3, who had just started to relax, felt their spirits shatter once again. All 4 of them stared anxiously at the door, their faces pale with fear. One of the thugs stepped forward, brandishing a long baseball bat. Behind him, 2 more burly men advanced. The boyfriend pointed directly at Zhang Ji's group and said, That's right, it was them. The 4 members of Mechanical Team 3 were frozen, not knowing whether to stand or sit. They fidgeted nervously, hunched over and bracing for the worst. The leader snarled, Get them. In seconds, Zhang Ji and the stocky guy were forced to their knees. They covered their heads as 3 thugs stood over them. The badly injured staff member clutched his chest, trembling in a corner. Among them, only the friend with the buzz cut still had the guts to resist. Unable to take it anymore, he clutched his head and yelled, You got the balls to let me make a phone call. The arrogant leader wasn't about to let that slide. He sneered, You son of a bitch. That's how you could talk? As he spoke, he grabbed a bottle of expensive liquor. A glass bottle. He viciously swung it straight down. The entire bottle crashed down on his friend's head with deadly force. A horrified Zhang Ji looked at his friend and cried out, Chun Song. His friend, Chun Song, froze completely. Blood and liquor streamed down his face. Outside the KTV, Jiang Xiaoyong's black car had already pulled up to the entrance. Following the system's directions, he had finally arrived. Standing in front of the karaoke bar, Jiang Xiaoyong was excited to reunite with his old teammates. He laughed cheerfully, remarking, Haha, man, college students sure know how to live it up. Meanwhile, inside the karaoke room where Zhang Ji was in deep trouble. Fortunately, Jiang Xiaoyong was entering the building at just the right moment. Two employees held the door, welcoming Jiang Xiaoyong like a VIP. The scene shifts back to room 3090. Chen Song cried out, "Ugh!" Then he collapsed to the floor as blood from his head formed a growing puddle. Zhang Ji, beside him, frantically shook Chen Song's arm. Chen Song, the aggressive boyfriend, still held the bottle, its bottom now shattered. The other thugs just watched the scene unfold, completely emotionless. The boyfriend put an arm around his lover, stroking her arm as he asked softly, "How are you, baby? Not mad anymore?" The woman in the red dress didn't look happy. She seemed completely indifferent. Examining her nails, she casually replied, "What's there to be mad about? He wasn't the one who bumped into me." These people truly treated human life as if it were worthless. The woman in red just stood there sulking, still picking at her nails. The boyfriend then pointed another bottle of liquor at Zhang Ji's face. He smirked, his voice dripping with provocation. "So it was this one, huh?" Realizing the impending danger, Zhang Ji remained silent, swallowing his anger to get through it. It seemed as if Chen Song was completely out of strength. But he managed to quickly reach behind him and grab an ashtray. Clutching the ashtray tightly, Chen Song struggled to his feet, about to attack the arrogant boyfriend. But he was overpowered, held back by two thugs pinning his arms. One of the goons snarled, "This little punk. You still dare to fight back?" Startled, the boyfriend instinctively recoiled. But Chen Song's defiance sent the arrogant man into a furious rage. His face contorted with anger. His eyes bulged. He ground his teeth and spat. "You motherfucker. I didn't think you had that much nerve." The new bottle, which had been meant for Zhang Ji, now shattered over Chen Song's head instead. This time, the boyfriend struck even harder. He put all his force into the blow, his whole body leaning into the swing. The two thugs held Chen Song firmly in place, forcing him to take the hit. Chen Song's eyes rolled back as the two men let him go, and he collapsed face down on the floor. Seeing his friend get hurt protecting him, Zhang Ji was overcome with rage. Kneeling on the floor, he let out a defiant roar. He couldn't stand this arrogant and cruel bastard any longer. Zhang Ji shot to his feet and lunged at him, screaming curses. "You son of a bitch. I'll smash your damn head in." Seeing this, even a heavy-set guy charged forward with Zhang Ji. They both clenched their fists, aiming for the same target. Only the man in the white shirt remained, cowering in a corner. He hugged his head, his knees tucked tightly to his chest. His entire body was trembling. All around him, the sounds of a brawl erupted. "Still not scared, you little shits? You're fucking asking for it. I'll beat the hell out of anyone I get my hands on." In the middle of the chaotic free-for-all, with fists flying, no one paid any mind to the waiter, who had suddenly begun to show bizarre symptoms. He was coughing violently, his skin turning a sickly purple as dark veins spread across his face. Sweat poured down like rain as he shivered uncontrollably, as if he were at the North Pole. Zhang Ji was struggling against two of the thugs. He swung a fist, straight at the black hair man's face. But the man ducked, narrowly dodging the blow. From behind, another man had Zhang Ji in a tight hold, pinning his arms. In just moments, the waiter's face had transformed, turning a deathly white. Dark purple veins bulged from his neck and temples as blood began to seep from his eyes. Saliva drooled from the corners of his mouth. The sounds of the fight filled the air. "Lao San, you coward. Get him. God damn it." He snapped his head toward the brawl, his eyes glowing with a terrifying, soulless red light. The waiter immediately charged toward Zhang Ji's group, running with a strange, jerky gait. He ran hunched over, his arms flailing like a puppet's, letting out a low, guttural moan. Then, he lunged and sank his teeth deep into the shoulder of a long-haired thug. Bitten unexpectedly from behind, the man's face twisted in agony as he cried out, "Arg! What the hell?" Seeing one of her own being mauled, the blonde in the red dress let out a piercing scream. The force of the bite seemed intent on ripping the flesh clean off his shoulder. Overwhelmed by the pain, the long-haired thug screamed helplessly. "Is he a rabid dog? It hurts so much. Somebody help me. What in God's name is that thing?" The man who had been hiding in the corner completely lost his composure. Witnessing the scene, his terror spiraled. He clutched the back of his head with both hands. Eyes wide and mouth agape, he was trapped in a silent scream of horror. The struggle raged on around him. "NGH. I'll take care of these two bastards. You go help him." The waiter's jaws were still clamped down. on the thug's shoulder. Another man rushed over to help the long-haired thug. He grabbed the waiter's arms and tried to yank him off by the neck, but it was no use. He shouted, "How is this son of a bitch so damn strong?" The moment the words left his mouth, the waiter released the long-haired man, but he only whipped around and viciously sank his teeth into the other thug's arm. He had clearly been infected by a virus, one that turned him into a soulless, living corpse. The thug in the white shirt cried out, "Damn it, he got me too. He's a fucking mad dog." As if fueled by his words, the living corpse grew stronger, biting down hard enough to tear flesh from bone before violently slamming the thug's back against the floor. He struggled helplessly, screaming, "This guy's completely lost his mind. He's too strong." In this critical moment, a hand shot out of nowhere and seized the living corpse by the neck. The man was none other than Jiang Xiaoyong, the protagonist of this story. He effortlessly lifted the nearly 6-foot-tall zombie off the ground as if it weighed nothing. His cold, hardened expression was cast in shadow. Everyone who saw it turned pale with shock. An intense energy radiated from Jiang Xiaoyong as his eyes began to glow. Then, with machine-like precision, he gripped its neck and with a single brutal swing, hurled the zombie. Smash! The glass of the television screen shattered into 1,000 pieces. The living corpse's head was embedded deep within the monitor. Jiang Xiaoyong turned around, the picture of cold composure. He pointed at each of the brawlers in turn and gave his command. "All of you stop. Now." Seeing his imposing presence and incredible power, the thugs knew he wasn't someone to mess with and immediately fell silent. The thug who had just been bitten struggled to his feet. He clutched his injured arm. Head down, he glared, his mind racing. That freak was inhumanly strong. But this kid took him out in a single move with just one hand. The arrogant boyfriend opened his mouth, snarling. His eyes went wide with rage as he screamed in Jiang Xiaoyong's face. "Who the hell are you?" Behind him, the bite mark on the other thug's shoulder was already turning a deep, necrotic purple. Su scratched the back of his neck, but no one noticed the strange wound. Ignoring the gang's leader, Jiang Xiaoyong turned and spoke gently to Zhang Ji. "Zhang Ji, did you get bit?" This was the first time Zhang Ji had ever met Jiang Xiaoyong, being questioned by a stranger. In a situation like this, Zhang Ji was naturally on guard. Sitting between two of the thugs, he looked up and answered cautiously, "No, why?" Seeing that he was safe, all that was left was to get Zhang Ji back to the base. Jiang Xiaoyong said seriously, "Come with me." He was just looking for an excuse to leave. Zhang Ji didn't hesitate. He shot to his feet, but the arrogant leader grabbed his shoulder, stopping him. The thug's eyes widened as he snarled, "Hold it! We're not finished with you yet. Where do you think you're going?" The long-haired thug, the leader's closest crony, had been infected by the zombie from earlier. Now, the virus was rapidly taking hold. A strange, unsettling feeling crept over his body. No text. He squeezed his eyes shut, his face twisting in pain. Clutching his head, he called out, "Boss! GHK! Boss! Asterisk, GHK! GHK! Asterisk! My head, it's killing me." The leader turned to him, confused. "What's wrong? Is your fever getting worse?" A glint in his eye, Jiang Xiaoyong glanced over at the long-haired thug. With his experience, he knew the signs instantly. His gaze grew serious, defensive. He focused on the wound on the man's shoulder, which looked like a dark pit. The flesh around the bite was pitch black. The surrounding skin had turned a sickly purple. He was about to turn. The henchman fiddled with the bite, groaning in pain. This afternoon, it was just a runny nose. Jiang Xiaoyong's hand was still clamped firmly around the zombie's neck. He had its body pinned against the TV screen as it flailed uselessly. Seeing this, he spoke up. "Was this the thing that bit your shoulder?" By now, the purple discoloration had spread from the henchman's shoulder all the way to his head. Still completely unaware of what was happening to him, he scratched at the wound and answered blankly, Yeah. What?" Jiang Xiaoyong's expression darkened as he thought for a moment. From what he said, he must have already been sick. And now he gets a bite this close to his head. He's going to turn any minute now. Without another word, Jiang Xiaoyong dragged the zombie by the neck and marched to the door. The thugs could only watch in stunned silence. "Hey, what are you doing?" the leader shouted. Swiftly, Jiang Xiaoyong opened the door and heaved the zombie out. It tumbled down the stairs with a loud crash. Thud, like he was just taking out the trash. He grabbed the handle and slammed the door shut with tremendous force. A moment later, the creature outside began banging and clawing furiously at the door. Jiang Xiaoyong let go of the handle, confident it couldn't get in. Good thing these zombies don't have any intelligence yet. No text. After a moment, Jiang Xiaoyong turned back to face the thugs and clapped his hands sharply. He had their full attention. A powerful aura seemed to radiate from him. His eyes glinted with a cold, formidable energy. He cracked his knuckles and said, "So, Zhang Ji, tell me, which one of these guys do you want to take out first?" Zhang Ji was completely bewildered. He looked up, stammering, "What? You? Do we know each other?" The leader's face soured, furious at this new complication. He went right back to his usual bullying tactics. But this time, he'd picked the wrong person. The leader lunged at Jiang Xiaoyong, roaring, "You son of a bitch! You think you're hot shit, huh?" To Jiang Xiaoyong, this punk was nothing more than a gnat. He stood with his arms crossed, a look of pure contempt on his face. Then, he coldly planted his hand on the leader's face. The thug, who had been charging forward, was stopped dead and sent staggering backward. But Jiang Xiaoyong was just getting started. He grabbed the leader's head and slammed it down hard on the table. The table exploded into splinters. Seeing his boss get pulverized, the long-haired lackey rushes forward. "You son of a bitch. You're asking to die. One step, one strike." With a single blow, Jiang Xiaoyong lands a punch square on the man's face, sending him reeling back with a bloody nose. He has officially taken down both of them. Jiang Xiaoyong stands tall, an imposing figure with his fists still glowing. Suddenly, the underling begins to convulse as purple foam froths from his mouth, the wound on his body spreading rapidly. Seeing his comrade in danger, the last remaining thug rushes over to help, shouting in confusion, "Hey, what's wrong with you? Are you serious? He's having a seizure from just one punch?" Jiang Xiaoyong stands his ground, fists clenched. Alone in the middle of the room, he radiates a terrifying energy. He issues a challenge. "One by one. Anyone else got a problem? Still want to test your fists against mine? If you do, then come on. All of you." Then, Jiang Xiaoyong casually rubs his wrist. He turns to Zhang Qi and says, "Zhang Qi, get your friend and wait for me outside the room." Hearing this, Zhang Qi immediately nods. "Why, yeah, okay. Just outside the karaoke room." Zhang Qi and his chubby friend help the one with the buzz cut leave. They walk slowly. Meanwhile, back inside, the boyfriend's group is also trying to leave. One of them is supporting the underling who was bitten in the neck by a zombie. He looks to be in excruciating pain. The wound has become severely necrotic. The boyfriend leads the way, scowling. "Let's get out of here." But just as they reach the door, Jiang Xiaoyong is standing right there. He blocks their path, arms crossed, a demonic look on his face. Seeing this, the boyfriend grits his teeth and snarls. "What the hell do you want now?" The girlfriend in the red dress, standing behind him, is terrified. Jiang Xiaoyong frowns, calmly reminding the guy of what he did to Zhang Qi's group. "Had a few drinks, and you already forgot who you are, huh? You almost got my friends killed in here." The boyfriend has lost all his earlier arrogance. His terror is palpable, but he still tries to yell. "What kind of crazy bullshit are you talking about? Now, get the hell out of my way." In an instant, Jiang Xiaoyong unleashes a wave of energy, blasting the man head-on. The force sends the arrogant thug flying backward onto the floor. Thrown off balance, he stammers out a curse. "Son of a..." Before the thugs can even react, Jiang Xiaoyong quickly slams the door shut. Furious, the boyfriend scrambles to his feet and starts pounding on the door. He screams in a rage. "Damn it, you little mutt. Open this door right now. I'm going to skin you alive." At that moment, no one is paying attention to the long-haired underling's condition. His eyes suddenly flash blood red. Veins bulge across his terrifying face. His expression contorts into something inhuman. No longer a man, he lets out a guttural roar like a savage beast. Drool streams down his chin. His eyes bulge as if they're about to pop out of their sockets. And then, like a puppet whose strings have been cut, he loses all control of his body. He throws aside the two comrades trying to help him and lunges at the boyfriend with frightening speed. Transformed into a crazed demon, he howls. "Gra!" Seeing this, the other two scream in absolute horror. "Holy shit, what the hell are you doing?" On the other side of the door, Jiang Xiaoyong holds the handle firm. He ignores the blood-curdling screams and curses from within. as well as the frantic, violent pounding on the door. Holy hell. You're like a damn dog. Get the hell off me. How do you open a bathroom door? Ack, somebody help me. Jiang Xiaoyong hears everything, but his expression never changes. In fact, he listens intently to their every move. Perhaps the way life treated him in his previous existence is what forged him into such a cold person. Seeing Jiang Xiaoyong standing alone outside the noisy room, a staff member approaches, looking concerned. Sir, what happened in there? Do you need any help? Jiang Xiaoyong simply gives a decisive order, telling him there's a zombie inside. Lock this door. Completely. Don't let anyone open it. Then call the police and an ambulance. Tell them there's a patient inside having a rabid fit. The employee is instantly horrified. The employee just kept nodding his head. He'd heard about the strange disease that had been spreading these past few days. He mumbled, his words unclear. The mad flu? Seeing the staff member's dazed and slow reaction, Jiang Xiaoyong put on a severe expression. He turned, his eyes wide as he roared. Do it. The man was so startled he immediately scrambled to obey. Yes, yes. Even his horrific screams echoed from the other side of the door. Out here, following Jiang Xiaoyong's orders, the employee securely locked the door. Once it was done, Jiang Xiaoyong waved his hand, signaling to Zhang Qi and the others behind him. Let's go. Zhang Qi and the heavy-set man struggled to support Chen Chong, trusting Jiang Xiaoyong and following him out. Only the man in the white shirt seemed unsettled, hesitating before following them. The employee who had just locked the door grew more frantic as the desperate screams from inside intensified. He muttered in disbelief. No, this can't be happening. This is way too insane. Another staff member walked over. Seeing his colleague's expression, he asked in confusion. What's going on? What's all the chaos about? The first employee pointed towards the room and quickly answered. That customer from earlier said someone inside has the mad flu. The other man was taken aback, holding up his hands in disbelief. The mad flu? Is that even a real thing? Since the disease had only just emerged, anyone who heard of it was half believing, half doubting. The employee holding the keys asked, You know, about this? Immediately, the two of them took off running. The one in front glanced back as he ran. I've heard the rumors. Let's go check the security cameras. After a frantic sprint, they reached the security monitoring room. The two employees and the man monitoring the screens. In this room, were all paralyzed with absolute horror as they stared at the monitor for room 3090. They were so disgusted their faces turned pale, and they were drenched in cold sweat. No one could say a word. On the screen, one of the henchmen was tearing at the face of the woman in the red dress. She lay sprawled on the floor, her eyes wide open and staring blankly at the ceiling. Her boyfriend lunged toward another girl, his mouth dripping with blood, a horrific sight to behold. They were devouring every part of the body, right down to the internal organs, tearing flesh from the bones of the weaker ones. The employee screamed, Call the police. Hurry, outside the main entrance of the KTV. Jiang Xiaoyong stood by the car door, waving his hand to rush the others. Hurry up. We can't stay here any longer. Zhang Qi and the group had just made it to the main entrance. A few minutes later, once everyone was settled, Jiang Xiaoyong floored it, the car speeding away down the main road. Zhang Qi sat in the front passenger seat next to Jiang Xiaoyong. Looking worried, he turned to Jiang Xiaoyong and asked, Sir, thank you for saving us. Who are you? Not want to get into a long explanation, Jiang Xiaoyong just made up a plausible excuse to get Zhang Qi's group to follow him back to the base. My name is Jiang Xiaoyong. I was hired to protect you. And don't bother asking who my client is. The most timid guy in the group still couldn't believe what had just happened to them. He spoke up, asking Jiang Xiaoyong about the mad flu. Sir, is this mad flu you mentioned for real? The rumors online were all debunked. They said it didn't exist. Jiang Xiaoyong shot him a look and replied sharply. Then I guess what happened in that room was just a hallucination? The heavy-set man with glasses hesitated before leaning forward, his voice filled with anxiety. So, is there a cure for this mad flu? At this question, Jiang Xiaoyong fell silent for a moment. Then, composing himself, he looked in the rearview mirror and answered softly. This disaster isn't going to pass. It's only going to get worse. This is the end of the world. A little further down the road, all four of them jumped at a sudden noise from the street. It was the piercing scream of a woman. By reflex, everyone in the car looked over. They saw an infected person, their their faces pale as a corpse's. It lunged, tackling an innocent girl who was just walking down the street. A frenzied attack. The girl was pinned down, completely helpless. All she could do was scream for help. Help me. Hey, what do you think you're doing? The mad flew. That's it. Every plea, every desperate cry for help, every shudder of fear blanketed the entire street. Jiang Xiaoyong realized just how serious the situation was. He turned his attention back to the road and said grimly, "This is just a small, localized outbreak for now. Most people are still in the incubation period, but it won't be long before a massive area spirals out of control. So if you want to live, from this moment on, you do exactly what I say." The three of them replied in unison. "Yes, Brother Yong." At that moment, the system interface popped up. Mission, former partner, complete. System points. Earned, plus 20. Total points, 20. I can't believe the mission's done already, Jiang Xiaoyong thought to himself. Oh, it's completed? Perfect timing. I think I saw some new items in the shop earlier, too. 3 crates appeared in the system shop. First, Apocalypse Farmer Supply Crate. Level 1 minus 2 points. Second, Sugar, Oil, and Protein Supply Crate. Level 1, minus 5 points. Third, Tactical, Weaponry Supply Crate. Level 1 minus 5 points. Jiang Xiaoyong frowned, a question forming in his mind. Why is this Apocalypse Farmer Crate still here? Looks like I have to buy it if I want the stock to refresh. Guess I'll have to waste a few points just to get new items. As he drove, he kept scrolling through the system panel. Jiang Xiaoyong was completely absorbed by the system shop. After browsing for a long moment, he thought, these crates look pretty useful, and they aren't even expensive. I'll buy them all once we're back at the fortress. All of them. At that thought, Jiang Xiaoyong glanced over, his brow furrowing. He watched Zhang Ji and his 3 friends sitting quietly in the back. A wary look crossed his face. Now for the other tricky problem. Jiang Xiaoyong recalled how, when they first met, Zhang Ji had been crying over a friend's betrayal. A betrayal that had destroyed his entire team. And to think we still called him our brother. Jiang Xiaoyong put the pieces together in his head. Zhang Ji was betrayed by one of his dorm mates, his brother. The betrayal led to the deaths of several people, who then turned into zombies. Only Zhang Ji barely managed to escape with his life. So, the person responsible for all those deaths. I know that one of Zhang Ji's 3 friends in the back is the traitor, but he hasn't shown his true colors yet. Every single one of them looks suspicious. He wondered, which one is it? That night, in a high-rise apartment building where Cui Jing lived, she was inside on the phone with Li Shuxiong. Honey. She stood by the window, gazing out at the city. Her face was pale, etched with undisguised worry. She kept her eyes fixed outside as she spoke. You said you were sending supplies? Where are they going to get here? It's complete chaos out there. I'm way too scared to go to the grocery store by myself. The voice on the other end answered gently. They're coming soon, babe. As soon as the transfer is processed, I'll have them sent right over. Suddenly a loud sound erupted at the door. Asterisk bang. Bang. Asterisk. She jumped, terrified, thinking a horde of zombies was breaking down her door. Hearing the commotion, Li Shuxiong asked urgently, Babe, what's wrong? Cui Jing tried to compose herself. She crept toward the door. With a hand pressed to her chest, she answered him, her voice trembling. Someone's knocking. I have to go. After she hung up, she peered through the peephole, seeing her best friend on the other side. She breathed a sigh of relief and opened the door. It's you. Why were you banging on the door like that? Cui Jing's friend slipped inside, her movements wary and cautious. She immediately began sharing urgent news about their building. They took Mr. Liu from the first floor this morning. Once she was inside, her friend quickly shut and bolted the door. Cui Jing was stunned to hear that the man she saw almost every morning had been taken away. He was taken away? How did he get taken away? Her best friend quickly answered. Police cars and an ambulance came and took him. Hearing this, Cui Jing stroked her chin, deep in thought. So that's... No wonder there was such a commotion downstairs this morning. Her friend said grimly. Looks like this mad flu is more than just a warning. Huh? Then, she made sure to ask. What about the supplies Li Shuxiong said he'd give you? Did he bring them over yet? Cui Jing looked at the phone in her hand, her face falling. Not yet. Hearing that, Cui Jing's friend's expression soured instantly. She pointed a finger, cursing Li Shuxiong. That son of a bitch. I told you. All men are trash. One moment hateful, the next ready to exploit. She hatched a plan for Cui Jing to use against him. Okay, here's what you do. Listen to me. Call him. Tell him that guy, Jiang Xiaoyong, has a ton of supplies. He could make a fortune off them during this pandemic. Cui Jing looked at her with doubt. Is that true? How do you know that? Her friend crossed her arms and explained. The last time I went to Jiang Xiaoyong's place, he kicked me out, so I had one of my simps keep an eye on him. He found out that trucks full of supplies have been constantly unloading cargo at his unfinished factory. Cui Jing gritted her teeth in frustration. You mean that bastard knew about the pandemic all along? Her friend continued. It's not likely Xu Xiong would have time to notice something like this himself. She was truly a snake in human skin. First, she tried to get with Jiang Xiaoyong. Now that times are tough, she's plotting to rob someone else. She looked up, her expression urgent as she pressed Cui Jing to do her bidding. Just do what I say. Call him. Now. The sooner, the better. And when we get the money, tell Xu Xiong to give us a 20% cut. At last, Jiang Xiaoyong and Zhang Ji's group arrived back at his base. Everyone slowly stepped out of the vehicle. Zhang Ji looked around, completely astonished. Whoa, this place is incredible. It's like a fortress. Jiang Xiaoyong glanced over at him. A small smile played on his lips. He answered confidently. Everyone's first reaction is always a little different. Hearing the noise, Lao Han and Shan Shan came out to greet them. Lao Han's face lit up. Xiaoyong, you're finally back. Beside him, Shan Shan asked softly. Are you okay? Jiang Xiaoyong replied cheerfully. Don't worry. Lao Han, Shan Shan. Come on, let me introduce you to our new members. With that, he turned to the other group. He motioned toward the small squad and quickly made the introductions. This is Zhang Ji and his classmates. From now on, they'll be our companions. Zhang Ji gave a friendly wave. Then, Xiaoyong introduced the others in turn. These two are Lao Han and Shan Shan. Shan Shan said with a smile, if brother Xiaoyong chose you as our companions, then you're more than welcome here. Jiang Xiaoyong then turned to Lao Han. Lao Han, please take a few of our people, show these guys around the compound, and brief them on our rules. Lao Han, holding his rifle, nodded at Xiaoyong. Consider it done. The stocky young man looked a bit unsettled by this. He turned to his friends. This feels like we just got trafficked to a scam compound in Southeast Asia. Suddenly, the timid young man raised his hand. He started, while pointing toward his group. See, could you give us some weapons? We can help protect this place, too. Hearing this, Jiang Xiaoyong's expression changed in a flash. He shot a sharp glance at the speaker. The boy with glasses quickly turned to him. Yiming, don't be in such a rush to ask for weapons. We just got here. First, we have to earn their trust. Jiang Xiaoyong knew what they were thinking and spoke up to reassure them. Don't worry. In a few days, I'll issue weapons to all of you. He then smoothly changed the subject. Looking over at the young man being supported by the boy in glasses, he continued. Oh, right. His injuries are pretty serious. We should get him to the infirmary for a checkup first. A little while later, in the bathroom at Jiang Xiaoyong's place, Zhang Ji's group was washing up together. A much-needed shower after a chaotic day. The chubby guy sighed contentedly as he dried his hair. That feels incredible. But Yiming had been stewing this whole time, unable to accept their situation. He spoke up, his voice sharp with accusation. Hey, fatty. And Lao Si. Why did you stop me back there? Lao Si was taken aback. Yiming pressed on. If you hadn't gotten in my way, he probably would have given us weapons by now. Yiming was becoming extremely agitated. He jabbed a finger toward the floor and spoke loudly. To put it nicely, we're being protected. But let's be real. We're basically under house arrest here. He wasn't this bold back at the karaoke bar. Now that he's safe, he's suddenly got a big mouth. Hearing that, Lao Si grew just as uneasy. He tried to calm Yiming down. How can you say something like that? He just saved our lives. Yiming turned to Zhang Ji with suspicion. What's his deal anyway? Why would he save us? Zhang Ji turned around and replied. Didn't he say someone hired him to protect us? Yiming pressed on warily. Someone hired him? He never said who. For all we know, that could be a total lie. Yiming ground his teeth, his frustration palpable. This was a far cry from the timid man he was just a short while ago. Besides, look at how he's treating Chen Song. He said he was taking him to the infirmary for observation. But you saw it. The doors and windows on that place are stronger than a prison's. The The thought of what might be happening to Chen Song sent him into a fury. Who's to say? He's not in there getting cut open by that guy right now. That's why we have to strike first. Lao Si was stunned. He refused to believe the worst, arguing back firmly. But what if we're wrong about him? Wouldn't that be repaying kindness with evil? Yiming stood his ground, pointing a thumb at his chest. Yiming, would rather wrong the entire world. And even if what that Jiang Xiaoyong says is true, we're taking over this place and seizing control. A sly, wicked grin spread across his face as he continued. Think about it. Besides us and Jiang Xiaoyong, there's only an old man and a girl here. We just have to wait for Jiang Xiaoyong to leave, then we grab them. And that girl, she's not bad looking. We could. Hif. The mere thought of it made him smirk with delight. He assumed everyone else was as devious as he was, and that they would be on board with his plan. But Lao Si and Zhang Ji could only stare at him, utterly speechless. The room fell dead silent. Seeing their expressions, Yiming quickly waved his hands and forced a laugh. All right. I was just joking, guys. Don't take it so seriously. Zhang Ji let out a quiet sigh of relief. He wiped the sweat from his brow and said, Lao San, man, don't scare me like that. It's not like it's the end of the world yet. Talking like that is just lawless. Lao Si added from behind him. He's right. If he really wanted to cut us open, he could have just locked us up from the start. After all, he's the one with the gun. As a shower head sputtered to a stop, so did their conversation. Watching the other two walk away, Yiming's lips curled into a sinister smile. TCH, a bunch of naive, useless fools. In times like these, you have to be ruthless. Just you wait. When I'm running this place, I'll work you two like mules for the rest of your lives. The scene changes, shifting to Jiang Xiaoyong's room. Jiang Xiaoyong sat calmly on the sofa. Shan and Old Man Han approached him slowly. Old Man Han began to give Jiang Xiaoyong a full report on Zhang Ji's group. He said calmly, Yong, Zhang Qi and the others are all settled in now. The one who was more seriously injured is a boy named Chen Chong.